All right, and let's go live on IG. All right.
Yeah, that looks good.
There we go. All right, what's up, everybody? All right, welcome to another session of the Kava podcast, After Dark Session, live out of San Francisco. On this beautiful Saturday night, as you guys can see, we have a panel of Tongan ladies here tonight, and we have another great show planned out for you guys. As always, if you guys tuning into the live show, you guys already know what to do. The best way to support the content is to smash that like and subscribe button real quick. Don't forget, this is a virtual show. A lot of you guys ask me questions, how do I jump on virtually? The best way to jump on virtually is become a subscribing member on my locals. The link to my locals in the description below. Some of you guys are signed up members. Thank you for financially supporting the podcast. So if you want to jump on virtually, have a live conversation with us on the last hour of this podcast, become a subscribing member on my locals, and you'll be able to get the link. And you can jump on the last hour of this podcast after 9 p.m. Pacific California time. So, but I see the real podcast, Conrad. Good to see you, lovely world. Good to see you guys on the live chat. Getting active already. Let's get that live chat active. Let me know what you guys think. And I know some of you guys are creeping and being ninja watchers on my channel, so definitely come out the closet tonight and say something, say hello in the live chat. All right, but don't forget, if you do want to drop a super chat and you have a specific question or topic you want to ask us, drop it through a super chat and we'll be able to respond to you guys, any question or topics. For this specific podcast, we're all talking here on this panel, so we're going to, the first half of the podcast, we're going to talk about the main topic, and then the last hour of the last part of the podcast, we're going to talk about topics more related to Tongan. So if you're a Tongan out there, shout out to you guys. Ask us some questions you guys want to talk about, especially within the Tongan culture, and we can respond to you guys as well. But shout out to you, Lord Punisher. I see you in the live chat. Thank you so much for tuning in already. And if you're watching this from different platforms, definitely come over to YouTube, because so that way you guys can participate on the live chat and you'll be able to get the access to the link and to able to be jump on virtually. All right. But besides that, that's pretty much all my YouTube stuff. Thank you so much. And just want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, Global Financial Impact, their financial services company. If you're looking for financial independence, life insurance, and health, and how to set up a college fund for your kids and other financial services, reach out to Savannah and her team, and they'll be able to help you guys out with that. And I do appreciate Global Financial Impact. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all my YouTube stuff. Thank you so much. Shout out to you guys tuning in already, and shout out to the panel. All right. But before we go right into it, I'll pass it back to you, ladies, if you guys don't mind. If you want to give yourself a quick intro for everybody out there. Thank you for making the time. And whatever is voluntary and non-voluntary, thank you for making the time to have a discussion here today. So, Natalie, I'll start with you if you don't mind. Thank you for coming all the way. I know we met each other virtually, but it's good to have you finally here in the studio.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to meet you in person finally.
But go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everyone out there.
So my name's Natalie Totai. Everybody knows me by Honey Dreads. I am full Tongan, and I'm 29. I work for Marriott, but recently I became a promoter, an event promoter in Salt Lake City, Utah. I am single most of the time, and what I look for in a relationship, honestly, I date Tongan men, so sorry if I'm gonna break any hearts with that statement. And you have to be at least 6'2".
Okay.
Those are my requirements. I'm sorry if you're under 6'2", don't slide in my DMs because I will ignore you.
Okay, 6'2" Tongans. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Natalie. We pass it to you. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro. Thank you for being part of the pod.
Hello, my name is Seta Mai. I'm Tongan and I'm 31. I am a stay-at-home wife and I'm married. And I am looking for nothing. I'm not looking for
Yeah, because you're married
anything.
already.
I'm married.
Yeah, of course.
Gosh. Well, I mean, guys.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll pass it to you.
Okay, so my name is Siu, and I'm Tongan, and I'm just about at that age right now. And I'm a widow. And I was actually just supposed to come and bring my daughter, but she kind of forced me to sit here and join in the podcast, and I don't mind at all. So I'm just looking forward for a really good conversation today, and just happy to be here, and just want to thank Will for accepting us to be here together with him.
All right,
Discuss all the topics.
No worries. Thank you so much. All right, talking about being forced, just gave me some flashbacks to my childhood.
You can't force the willing.
All right, shout out to the ladies. Thank you so much. All right, shout out to the panel. Thank you so much. I see you jerk, sophisticated jerk on the live chat. Thank you so much for watching. But we'll go right into it. But before we go right into the topic, we'll have some Kava real quick, and then we'll go right into the topic, have the discussion. So this is the first time we've had an official doa here tonight. So Natalie, appreciate being the doa for here for
You're
tonight.
so welcome.
Okay.
I don't know how much you want.
Okay.
It'd be nice.
You've doa before, right?
Oh yeah,
okay.
This wrist is professional.
Professional wrist.
Professional wrist
Okay.
action here. Do you want a full cup? Half a cup or half a scoop?
That's good. Thanks.
Sure.
Do you guys cheer, or that's only for me? Oh no. Well, hell, I don't know.
No, so usually we always raise our cups and then we offer some words of endearment towards each other, and then we'll drink and go ahead and drink a kava. Okay, so my words of endearment to everybody. Thank you so much for making the time, and I just want to say, don't be afraid for a challenge. So I know we have open conversations. We're gonna have a great conversation tonight, especially the topics that we're gonna be having especially with the tongue and culture. So looking forward to what everybody has to say tonight. But I think it's good, especially if you're trying to find some solutions, some truths. Sometimes it's gonna be challenging to speak the truth, but that's just part of having the conversation. So that's my words of endearment towards everybody. I'll pass it to you.
Popo and everything you said. Everything you said. Every single word.
Yep,
Malo.
or period.
Okay.
Good night.
Go ahead, Seta.
Thank you for having us, and I'm looking forward to the discussions that we're gonna have. And yeah, cheers, everyone.
All right.
Cheers to that. Yep, I'm gonna second everything you guys just say.
Okay. All right. Let's drink. Afatu. All right. And it's a sophisticated jerk just said, showing support. She is being stingy with the Kava rations.
I was trying to be nice, actually.
Give me another one.
Oh, okay, brought to you.
All right, but I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. All right. But yeah, keep it active in the live chat. And of course, all the Kava drinkers here tonight, make sure you guys go home to your wives, eh? Don't be don't be drinking too much or talking too much to the door, okay? But go home to your wives. I think that's going to be one of our topics tonight.
By Kava?
I think so.
Let's run it.
All right. Hey, but we'll go right into it. So the topic we're going to be discussing is how can a man earn a woman's submission? But before we go into the topic, I wanted to have a conversation and kind of address, because I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like my podcast.
There's a lot of people that do not like this guy in front of me.
Okay,
right
so
now.
I have some Tongans here tonight. I just want to address some of those things, just because that's the elephant in the room. So we might as well address it. We, like I said, we keep it real, keep it honest. But yeah, I would like to address it because I haven't had a chance to speak to those people because I know that was a long time ago. So yeah, but pass it back to you guys. What were the things that you guys were hearing that so that I could kind of address it myself?
Where do we start?
Let me go first.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So when I heard your name,
Mhm.
Natalie, I remember a long time ago that some people were saying you were fat shaming Polynesian women.
Yeah.
And other people were saying that you're more concerned with their health.
Yeah.
So it went both ways. And yeah, that's how I know you
Yeah.
is from that podcast.
Yeah. Here I'm gonna be, because I think this is the thing, because I haven't had a chance to speak on that, but I do believe we take accountability, so I will be accountable. When I first started doing this podcast, when I was trying to figure out how to make content as a content creator, to be honest, one of the things that I saw online where people were doing to get views was to say things were controversial to get clicks. Okay, so if I had to be accountable for that, that's what I did purposely. But I realized that when we have these type of conversations, some things can be very sensitive, and a lot of people, the way you deliver it has a big impact on how people consume content. So in the beginning, for everybody that's watching this right now, because I do understand there's a misperception of a lot of people based on who I am, and one of the reasons why I started my podcast was to have an open discussion on a lot of things that we consider taboo, but it is causing problems with our Tongan culture, but nobody wants to have a conversation about it. So that was one of my motivating reasons why I wanted to start my podcast. You know what? If there's no place where we can just sit down and have an open conversation, and nobody wants to do it, or maybe nobody has the courage to do it, because we do understand that a lot of the topics that we're going to discuss, or a lot of your viewpoints, is, if people don't like it, they're gonna either you're gonna get backlash, or people might try to cancel you. We're all talking here, and like, to be honest, our people, we have a very tribalistic mindset on certain issues, and especially if the newer generation, we're kind of the newer generation. If we talk about certain things that kind of is opposing to what most Tongans think, if it's a new idea or new perspective, they may not be able to comprehend that perspective. So, but I stand on everything I said regarding the obesity one. I remember that clip. It was we were having a podcast about obesity. I'm a big believer in health. I'm a big believer in making sure that we have some, we live a good life, and especially when we have families, that we have longevity, so that way we can be there for the people we love. Obesity is one of the problems we do see in our culture, and I have a lot of friends who died before they were 30 due to obesity. So my main opinion about obesity, and the reason why we had that podcast specifically, was, and we discussed this with Natalie, there's a difference between being obese and just being healthy as a Tongan, as Polynesians. And I think one of the conversations that we had on that specific conversation is, I know we were talking about in the Tongan community, has obesity become the norm of what we accept as normal health as Tongans? So I have a lot of Tongan friends that I try to encourage them to be healthy, but their response to me, well, this is how Tongans are supposed to look. This is Tongan beauty. This is our normal. This is what normally how Tongans are supposed to look. And I don't think being unhealthy is what any race is supposed to look. I do understand that we can be a little bit bigger because of genetics, but I don't think we were supposed to be unhealthy where it gets to a point where it's having problems that's affecting our life, our personal life, our relationships, our jobs, our children. So that was the conversation that I wanted to have. But to be honest, to respond to that, when I made the clip to be able to have that discussion, I did it in a way to get people mad, to get controversial. So I do it. So I don't blame anybody for if thinking like, oh, this guy's an asshole, all right, trying to say that, trying to shame us for our body weight. So I'll own that. But the main point of that conversation was, how can we solve the obesity problem within our Tongan community? Because we all have people that died early. We see it all the time. I can't remember the last time I've seen a Tongan here that's over 60 or 70. Most of the OGs, or most of the family, most of the Tongans I see, they die around 50, and the life expectancy in America is like 70, 80. And I think if you look at the statistics, we have I think Tongans or Pacific Islanders specifically, we have the lowest life expectancy among all cultures. I think we're number 1 or number 2. So that's just to put it in the perspective. Like there's thousands of cultures out there. We're such a small minority of people in the world, but how come we lead the whole world when it comes to life expectancy? So I think that's a conversation nobody wants to have. So, when you talk about health, when you have conversations about health among Tongans, we're just gonna eat how we eat. We are how we are. But that was a conversation that we were supposed to have. So, anybody want to respond?
So you just delivered it in an asshole-ish way on purpose?
If you consume my content in the first two years of my pod, I do 100% understand why people got mad, because I was just doing things that I saw. But what I realized was I got a lot of backlash for a lot of things. And I just realized in order to figure out solutions, you have to have conversation with people that you're gonna disagree with. And if I can't create a place to where I can bring people in who, even though I know that we have opposing views, then I'm not doing a great job to creating that environment. So that's why I stopped doing that. Because I do want to bring people in, because I think I don't have all the solutions. I have my own perspective, my own belief system. But I think if we're gonna solve our issue, it's gonna be a community effort. Like everybody has to come to the table and put their ideas together of how we see things, and then that's the only way we can figure out solutions. So I can't be the only one. But that's why I stopped doing like the viral, controversial clips, statements to get people to come, because I think long-term wise, it's going to push away a lot of people that I would want to have a conversation with them, because I'm sure you guys have your own opinions about certain things, but if we're really going to fix the Tongan culture, a lot of the problems that we have here in society, it's going to involve everybody. And then if we can't have a conversation even with people that disagree with us, then how are we going to solve our own problems? So, but that's the way. Yeah. So I do own, like, I don't have when people say, "Oh, I hate this guy. This guy's an asshole," I don't blame him. I don't really blame him, because I did it purposefully. So I gotta take accountability for that. But I just realized that it doesn't bring people to the conversation. Also, I know for a fact that that's not who I am. So I'm not being honest to myself. So as a content creator, you have to be genuine. So I'm not that type of person. I don't like controversy. I really don't. So I was like, I gotta be honest, just be me. I gotta stop doing things just because that's what they say. That's how you get views, and that's not the reason why I started this podcast was for views. Was generally I wanted to create a platform where we can have open conversations for Tongans, because every culture has their own platform. The blacks, they have their own platform. The whites have a platform. The Latinos. Where's the platform for us where we can have real, honest, raw conversations? And I don't see nobody doing it. So I thought to myself that I want to do that for myself, something that I want to do, and be the first one to do it. But yeah, that's so yeah, for everyone out there, yeah, if you watch my content the first 2 years, I don't blame people having a negative perception, negative view, or criticism, because I did it purposely, but I don't do that no more.
Did you do that same thing on the topic of single moms?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That was the same thing.
The same thing. Just to clip and make a controversial statement. But for the one with the single mom,
that's like the main.
That was the one that people were so upset. So
on Twitter.
I'm still taking. I'll take 100% accountability of the way I delivered that message and clipping that to get clicks and views. But the main conversation from that specific conversation was for women out there, that we live in a society today that's not centered on family. And there's not a great example of a lot of good men out there for women to choose from. And there's not a lot of great men out there taking responsibility to be great fathers, to raise their daughters in the right way. If you don't want to end up a single mom, then take 100% accountability of the type of men that you allow into your life, especially when you have sex. So that was because I know there's a lot of guys. I'm a guy. There's guys out there.
If you would have delivered it just like you did just
I know.
Man, people would love you.
I know. Everything happened. Look, what's that? We learn from our failures. So I failed on that one. I would 100% agree. I failed on the way I made the content. But I was just trying to figure out how it works, and I saw that was the trend. Say something controversial, get clicks. I just didn't want to be known as the podcast where I'm just trying to get clicks and I'm just trying to irritate and get people. So it didn't align with the purpose of what I was trying to do, was just bring people with opposing views and have conversation. But my general perspective was for women out there, look, just take 100% accountability and be very selective of the type of men you bring, because if you are not selective and you're just gonna have no standards for yourself, then there's a lot of guys out there that's gonna take advantage of it, and you might end up being a single mom. So instead of blaming the men, because I do see there's a lot of women out there who are single moms, unfortunately, that's not a jab on the single moms. A lot of strong single moms doing what they have to do to take care of their children. But I do know, as a guy, there's a lot of guys out there that's going to waste their time.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll say whatever they're going to say to get you into your life. They'll do whatever they have to do. They'll portray a facade or version of themselves and make it seem like that they want to be with you, but they have no intentions of being with you. So if you want to avoid those guys, just don't expect the guy to be good. Just make good choices for yourself and be selective of the types of guys you bring. So that was the message I wanted to say. But I know when I purposely made that clip and that view, I made it in a way that I was putting 100% the blame on them. But that wasn't my main message. It was just take accountability.
I'm gonna crop this part of the video and send it to everyone who's mad at you.
Oh, but yeah. Yeah. All right. But yeah, is anything else you wanna bring up? Don't hold back now. If your friends said something, I would love to address what your friends have to say, because I don't think I've had a chance to respond to anything that.
Those are the main ones.
Well, yeah.
Those are the main ones.
Yeah.
Every time I would mention your name, because I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
I wasn't
yeah.
I wasn't following that when all that happened. But
Yeah.
every time your name came up and everybody's like, oh, well, who? And I'm, once I dropped your last name, they're like, oh yeah, F that guy.
Yeah.
And then the main one was the single mom topic.
Yeah. I did a live stream. I think this is a long time ago, but then I was on Zoom.
I finally saw the footage of that.
Oh yeah.
I heard it.
It was on Zoom and it was public, so I posted the link on IG, and then I think there were like 15 people jumped on, and they all addressed me. Some of them like got mad at me and cursed me out. But I really wanted to have an open conversation. So, but I like I said, I said it in a way to trigger people. So I don't do that no more. So I just like to have open conversations, and I'm just gonna let the content speak for itself. Sophisticated Jerk said, "Damn, Will was turned up 2 years ago. Shout out to Will to be a jerk." I'll be honest, I was a jerk a couple of years ago, but yeah. Besides that, yeah. And if you're watching this right now, and all the Tongans out there, if you guys are watching this right now, and you still hate my ass, I don't. If you saw my content 2 years ago, I do understand, but I would. I would recommend you seeing my previous podcast, because we do change. So, but like I said, I will still stand everything I said, but I do understand one thing I can improve on was be more conscious of how I deliver my message and my conversation for the people who have an opposing view. So that way they can at least come to the table and have a conversation. So it's probably one of the people that hate me.
What are you doing on there?
Calling me right now.
I didn't understand it. When people would bring up Zoom Will.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know that. I know YouTube Will. Like,
Yeah.
this Will's cool. So when I was talking about, coming onto the podcast, I didn't understand it. I was like, wait, what? I was like, why are you guys tripping for? Like, I think he's cool. And then, then I saw your own.
Oh yeah. I got a lot of backlash. I mean, I lost some relationships with my own family and my own friends.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I take accountability on that. I did something, but at the end of the day, I made those decisions. So
yeah.
And I did it with the intent to trigger people. So I can't get mad at those people who are upset based on the things that I said and the content I made. So it's no blame on them. That's on me.
Yeah.
But I do. But if people are watching this right now, I would recommend to watch my latest content because I don't do it no more like that.
Mhm.
So, but like I said, I own it. I'm not gonna put a victim or blame anybody. I've had people like cut me off, and I have people send me hateful messages, but I can't blame them. I can't blame it.
People always hold on to that, but
Yeah. But my main objective was how can we create a platform where as Tongans we can say things that we know that's going to trigger other people, not because you do it purposely, but because there's certain ideologies, especially for the younger generation, the things that we see can trigger a lot of the older generation because they have an older mindset.
Mhm.
So I don't think having an opinion or having a different view doesn't necessarily mean you did it for the purpose of triggering. I think a lot of people today, they might still consider me triggering, but I think today, I don't know if you guys see it, but one thing I noticed today is like, if you have an opinion or that's not the same as majority of people, that can be seen as triggering. But I don't. When you have an open conversation, just because somebody disagrees with you doesn't mean that you're triggering anybody,
Mhm.
right? So how can we be able to find the truth if we're not willing to listen to other people? Because how can you keep yourself in check to know that what you're saying is honest if you're not willing to check yourself to listen to other people, get feedback? So I got the feedback from a lot of people like shut this guy down. So, but I will say like, yeah, you can't shut me down.
Hey, but it's big for you to take
Yeah.
accountability, so I do applaud you for that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, but I also throw. I'm from the Bay Area. I would love to do more podcasts with other Tongans, so we can talk about more of the Tongan topics, the things that I'm passionate about, the things that I see that I experience. I do reach out to a lot of Tongans, but they tell me the same shit. They give me no time. Maybe the only Tongans that do come on is like people that haven't seen my content recently or back in the day. But I do want to invite more Tongans. That's why I'm excited for this podcast because on the last part of this podcast we can talk about a lot of the Tongan issues. But I just see a lot of people are like complaining about how come we can't talk about certain things. Well, if you're gonna talk about certain things, you have to have the courage to say it to everybody and let your voice be heard. But that backlash and Nick and people that may disagree with it, that's gonna comes with it. But if we're gonna openly talk about these topics, the backlash is gonna come. But that's not my intent no more. Is to trigger people. But I will talk about topics that people may seem triggering. But the ultimate motive is to solve it. Because I know you guys heard the term though, lefatonga. We just like to throw shit under the rug. And when we talk about topics, oh no, it's okay. And we just throw it, but nobody wants to figure out a solution. So, but yeah, that's my response.
Nice.
Okay, glad we got that out the way. No, I appreciate it. But yeah, if you guys are watching my podcast, everybody's welcome. Whatever you're talking, Samoan, Pacific Islander, even if you're not Pacific Islander, you're always welcome to jump on my virtual shows. If you're from the Bay, you want to come on in the Bay Area, you're always willing to come on and jump on. So, but yeah, but we'll go right into the topic discussion tonight. The topic we're going to talk about is how can a man earn a woman's submission. Let me play the video, and then we'll go right into the topic. Okay.
Any problem with listening to my man and being submissive. He allows space for me to express myself, and he's a great listener. And so because I know that he's listening and he is considering me, I allow him to lead in a lot of situations because I already know he knows me well enough to consider me. And so when a person listens to you, that gives you some safety when it's time for them to make decisions concerning you. And so
he's making decisions based off of what he knows about you.
that's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. So that was the topic I wanted to talk about. How can a man earn a woman's submission? That was a topic I saw that was viral online because there was this clip of women saying that I don't need a man to tell me what to do. All right. So, quick question I want to ask the ladies real quick. do you guys believe in submitting to your man? And when I say men, I don't mean a boy. I don't mean a man that can't lead. I don't know, man. I'm talking about the good men. I'm talking about the good men out there with good qualities, good values, that wants a family that's committed to you. So that type of man. So we're not gonna have a conversation with the undesirable men, right? The guys that just think that I'm a man, that you're supposed to listen to me just because I have some balls. Okay, so we're talking about like men who are put in the work. So with that type of man, do you believe in submitting to that type of man, Natalie?
Absolutely.
Okay, and then Seta?
Absolutely.
Okay, what about you?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Okay. All right. So, but let me pass it back to you guys. So there are a lot of women saying, I'm independent. I can make my own decisions. I don't need a man to tell me or control me. Right. So, but at the same time, those same women would say, I want to be in my soft girl era. I want to be submissive to my man. So the men are confused. All right. One side you're saying, I'm independent. I don't need a man. I don't need a man to control me, tell me what to do with my life. But then another part of the same women will also say, I want to be my feminine. I want to be my soft girl era. I want a man to be able to I can submit to. So the guys are trying to figure out, okay, do you want a man to lead, or what? Like how do we should be able to navigate this? So I'll pass it to you. I'll start with you, Natalie. We'll go around the panel. What's your reaction to that clip? But what's your response to that question? How can a man earn a woman's submission?
Man, when you're a man in like every way, like the good man, you're gonna, like, as a woman, you're gonna want to naturally submit to your man. Like if I'm outside and I know I got a good man at home, if he calls me and be like, hey, it's 2:00 in the morning, you need to get your ass home, and be like, all right guys, sorry, daddy called, I gotta go. Like I'm gonna go home because I know what I got at home. I know I have a good man. I'm gonna want to be submissive, but if you're a piece of shit and I'm, I feel like I don't feel safe with you. I don't have that safe space where I want to be submissive with you. I'll see you at 9:00 in the morning when I get home. Like I'll see you when the sun's up. I'll see you when I'm done. Like I'm not gonna want to submit to you, but I don't know. I got to be able to like trust you to lead for me to be able to submit to you.
Okay.
But I mean, like for women who feel like they're like independent, they don't need a man. I get it, but our first language as women and I feel like our natural, what am I trying to say? Like our
nature.
Yeah. Like our nature as women is like being submissive, being soft, like, taking care of home. And we're not supposed to be like these like masculine women.
Yeah.
Like masculinity is like a defense tactic.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my take on it.
All right. I'll pass it to you. What do you think? Do you think, what's your response to that clip? And also, what's your response? How can a man earn a woman's submission?
So I agree with the clip. Having a man to listen and like really take value to what you're saying, it means a lot to us women. Like we just want to be heard. I was just reading a question over there, like, what's a good man? A good man is a man that is a protector, a provider, someone that could teach us something new, or someone that's patient with us, or that loves us for us, For me, it's natural to submit to my husband.
Yeah.
He's the one that goes to work, busts his ass, comes home, pays the bills, and I submit to him.
Yeah.
Clean the house and cook.
Yeah.
Or whatever he needs. It's just natural.
Okay. All right. Thank you for so much. I'll pass it to you. What do you think? What's your response to that clip? And how can a man earn a woman's submission?
Okay, so I watch a lot of podcasts, little clips like that, and I also have a podcast myself. It's called The Four Real Ladies, and we get a lot of questions. We get a lot of
relationships,
people's relationship problems that they always tell us, and we don't even know these people. But I think like since 2014, we've had our podcast, and I think pretty much everybody knows that, we don't care who you are. just like, because it was like a Dear Lome thing, but in Tongan, Tongan, and then in English, Dear Abby. So people would write in and talk about things like this, and they just want to hear our different perspective of their situation. So it would be me and my 3 girls, and we won't all, agree with it. But on this one, I believe I'm much older than you guys, so I've been through a lot. And so with just that, I think behind that question, I just feel that, not everybody wants the same thing in looking for a partner or a man or a husband or wife. So their needs are different. But like for me, the way I'm looking at that question, if I love my husband, which I did, I'm a widow now, but when you love somebody, there's not going to be nothing hard for you to do. You're going to want to do what he wants you. And if he feels the same way, you'll have problems, but it's not going to be, arguing all the time. Oh, well, I told you, and I did this how many times, you don't even do it. It's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
It's different, from, I'm almost 60 years old now. So like I said, I've been through a lot, but it's different now with this generation. But I just feel with me, the way I look at that, if you love your husband or wife, it's not going to be nothing that you're going to sit there and argue about. It's going to be what both of you want, because both of you are putting in, and with that, it's 100% from your side, 100% from his side. There is nothing 50-50 the way I look at it.
Oh yeah.
50-50 is divorce. 100% from you, 100% from him is marriage, and both coming in there equally. That's the only way that you guys can do it.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at that.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. I see you guys, Milagros, Underground Roads. Appreciate you guys, Gas Mask. You guys are tuning in to the live show. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But let's get that the live chat active. Let me know what you guys think. Okay.
Somebody knows in the
Oh,
comments.
Irene Rhodes.
But hey, let me pass it to you guys. So you guys all explained that submission is natural for a woman, right? Especially when you come across a man that loves you, but is also a provider, protector, right? That you can trust him to be able to handle his responsibility of being a man to take care of you and the family. So why do you think in America, because I've seen Tongan women, not only like American women, but also I've seen Tongan women as well. Why are they so triggered by that word submission? Because I've had conversation with women on previous panels, right? And I say, if you want the relationship to work, find yourself a good man and submit to the man. As soon as I say the word submission, it's so triggering for a lot of women. What? Submit? I don't want to be controlled. I don't want the man tell me what to do. So why that's my question to you, because you're all women and you guys all live in America. And we see the dating culture today, the mentality of a lot of women. Why do a lot of women today get so triggered by that word submission? So let me just read the definition of submission. I just typed it on Google. The action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force of the will of authority over another person. The action of presenting a proposal, application, or other document of considering of judgment. What does this mean? To accept the authority, control, or greater strength of someone or something. So that was just the definition I saw on Google. If you don't mind, can you give me your definition of what submission means to you, to the man that to the good man that you can submit to, and why do you think that a lot of women today just get so triggered when a man says, "I want to be submissive," That's how we do, Natalie.
Stop starting with me.
Next time I'll tell somebody else.
I feel like
What's your definition of submission?
my definition of submission. The first word that comes to my mind is serving. I don't know.
Serving
yeah.
your man. Okay.
Okay.
Serving your man. That's a good definition.
Yeah. I like to use
Servitude.
I feel like that's a better word to use, Because if my man wants something, I'm gonna serve him out of
Okay.
love.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I feel like that's a softer, more appropriate word.
Yeah,
that I
serving your
like.
man. Yeah, serving your man.
I feel like women get offended with the word submission because dating nowadays is different.
Yeah,
Guys can be a piece of shit and they still expect their woman to submit to them.
yeah.
I think that plays a big part in why. I could be wrong, but I mean that's why I would take offense to it.
Okay.
Is guys that I've been with, they can be a piece of shit and
Yeah.
still expect women like,
Yeah.
nah, I'm a man. Like, you're supposed to do this.
Yeah.
When I get home, how come dinner's not on the table?
Yeah.
Because you're a piece of shit. I don't want to cook for you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you said that. What, Pastor, what's your definition of submission? Why do you think a lot of women get triggered when you say the word submission?
To me, it would be humility. That's exactly the word I was looking for. So to submit to your partner. Dang, there's so much I want to say. It's just not coming out right now.
Do you want me to come back to you?
Can you ask me again? Sorry.
No, because I mean, you're married. You have a good man that takes care of you and his responsibilities. So, what's your definition of submission? Because to some women, because I've heard this from some women, they say, "Oh, submission is me being oppressed by my man." That's their way of thinking of how they internalize that. So, but like you said, your perspective is your definition as a woman is serving. Serving a good man that's worthy of me to serve him, right? If you find somebody that's worthy, you guys align a lot of things, and you guys are bringing value towards each other. Then it's my honor and duty as a woman to serve him because he's doing the same thing for me.
Right.
So we go from serving to oppressed. Okay, so why do a lot of women? So what's your definition of submitting to your husband? And then why do you think a lot of women just get so upset and triggered when men say you have to be submissive?
I mean, we don't have to, but we choose to. And I feel like a lot of women that are offended by that, it goes like back to like their upbringing, or it goes back to whatever they went through with a man who was a piece of crap.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of women, they just revert to like this whole, what is it, like a survival mode.
Yeah.
And they don't want to deal with men. They don't want to be submissive. Why? Because there's been so many guys that's messed it up for them.
Yeah.
And that's how they view every man.
Yeah.
And some people are not like that. They'll find a good man and they'll be able to know when to be submissive now. And I don't know. Is that good enough?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'll pass it to you. Why? What's your definition? I know you had a husband, but before, you do believe in submitting to him. What's your definition of submission? And then why do you think a lot of women just get upset today when you bring it? If a guy says, you have to submit to me, girls get mad, get triggered. So why do you think a lot of women are triggered by that?
Well, I think she brought up a really good point. My sister said, my daughter said serve, she brought up a really good point that some women get triggered, I think, with that is because they keep picking the same man that they had a problem with. It's a different man, but the same situation, and they keep going through the same situation. And then when they hear it again, it's like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to do that again. Or, these men think, but it's not all men. It's only some. And maybe the people who get triggered, the way I'm looking at this, they might be choosing the same man over and over. I mean, not the same man, but the same, qualities
Type of man
in her, that she looked at. And that man had the same problems she did with, the other one. But again, when I think of that, it could be, something like that. They keep choosing the same thing. And then I feel that some other women might be triggered because their expectancy is too high. Like, I make more money than you do type of thing.
Oh, okay.
It could be something like that. It's just all different, and she's thinking, Okay, so you only yate, okay? So I bring home this, I got the medical bills, I got the dental, okay? That's why
Oh, yeah,
you
wait.
fixed your
Hey, I'm
teeth,
about to see all
okay? So it could be different things, you know? And that's just what I'm looking at. It's there might be more, but that's just what comes to mind, you know, when I hear these two. But for me, when I look at that, because I love my husband so much, I feel like I didn't cater enough to him. And I picked cater because I was doing everything. And he
Mhm.
wasn't like limiting me. Like he let me express the way I love him.
Mm.
And that's the same thing that I saw from him to me. So when the partners are equal in everything in life, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna naturally show your love in different ways. And then nothing will be like, you know, oh, you have to do this because I did this for you how
Yeah.
many times, and you know, now I'm just changing and doing this for him because
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just kind of everyone looks at everything different.
Yeah, for all the yatta guys out there,
Hey, if you're
You
single,
better take
DM me.
notes.
step your game up.
Natalie's single.
Yes.
You and Yate. No, I'm playing.
Gotta be
So-
6'2" and over.
Get the LLC and start a construction business. Stop being the cement guy, okay?
Yeah.
Step it up, fellas.
She's
Okay.
gonna change the license.
Or just do it legally. You know? Don't stop taking cash.
Finish the job.
And food. Oh, yo,
Finish the job. Don't take the money and run, damn it.
I've seen videos of that. Don't take the money and just dip.
Don't take the money and run.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Okay, so submission.
That was different.
No. That was, I wanna expand on what she said. She said that this is gonna be that this is gonna wanna be one of the statements that intentionally I'm trying to figure out a solution, but it's gonna sound triggering for a lot of women, right?
Ooh, go ahead.
But I do agree with what I do agree what you said. Because when I do hear women that have a very extreme view and think that all men are the same, which we all know it's false, right? There are good men out there. That's you guys just mentioned men in your lives right now. They're being good men and good fathers and good husbands.
Must be nice.
All right, so you get there. Sione, if you're watching the joint now, Sione. Now you're single. But I do agree with you. I think in the society today that is very empowering to a lot of women, which I don't have a problem with. But I think that empowering can be kind of extreme where women don't want to take accountability for their choices. Because I do see, there are good men out there, and I do agree with you. I think our childhood has a big impact, especially for women, the type of men that they want to be with. So to understand what a good man is, you have to see that at home, right? So I think if you, as a woman, if you have a good father, that has a big impact of the type of selection of men you're going to date, because your standards and your what you believe how you should be treated will all start with how your dad treated you and your mom. So if you grow up in a household where there's no strong, healthy father figure, or that father was abusive or was unfaithful to your mom, in your mind, you might think that's normal behavior. So you might choose men that's similar to the type of men that you grew up with. So if you never saw that at an early age, I can do understand why a lot of women would choose toxic men, because maybe toxicity is your normal of what you saw at home. So in your mind, you think that's normal.
That's all you know.
That's all you know, right? So I do understand why a lot of women, but I have to be honest. Once you turn 18, become an adult, you have to take accountability for your choices, all right? Because look, all of us have issues when we grew up as a child, So, but at the end of the day, when I become an adult, I can't keep blaming my parents or my childhood for my problems as an adult.
Right.
At some point, I have to be like, you know what? This is my life. I gotta make my own choices. I'm a grown ass man, and you're a grown ass woman. So if you had toxicity and you never had that father figure, unfortunately, I'm sorry that happened to you. But if you keep making those same decisions and not breaking that cycle, then that accountability has to come back to you. So I think when women say, "Oh, I don't want to submit to a man," I don't think that they've never met a good man before. And then, like you said, there's a pattern of the same type of dudes that they keep getting disappointed or mistreating them, and they just believe that all these guys are the same. But the reality is, when women say all men are the same, oh, no, all men that you choose
Right.
Yeah.
are the
Mhm.
same.
Mm.
Not all men are the same. You keep choosing the same men because if you there's good men out there, but you didn't choose that man. But that's going to be hard for a lot of women to digest. Hey, look, I know there's I'm sorry that there's a lot of bad guys out there, and maybe you're a single mom now, you have multiple kids or multiple baby daddies, but at some point you got to look at yourself in the mirror. That look, I am the one choosing these types of men and laying with this man, having kids with these types of men. You got to start taking accountability because there are good men out there, and you're not choosing them. So. And if you find those minds, if you find those type of guys, you see there's a difference when you submit to the right man compared to the wrong man. So, and I think that's why a lot of women would say, "I don't want to submit to no man," or "I don't want a man no controlling." Was because that the men in your life were controlling the men in your life didn't treat you the right way. But I think when you find a good man, and I think every woman knows this, when you find a good man, you're willing to do everything and serve him. There's not a problem, but because a good man would appreciate the servitude of the woman that he's with. So, but that's what I believe when women say, "I don't want to submit to no man." It just tells me that they have never come across that type of man in their life yet. Because if they did, they wouldn't be saying that. They would be saying something different, which is, "I love being submissive. I love being with a good man." But you haven't, unfortunately. In society in America, where it's not really centered on family anymore, because everything now is just about sex. Everything now is not just go hook up, have fun, but there's no focus on like intentionality and long term and children. I think a lot of women have got caught up with the culture today, especially when it comes to hookup culture and casual culture, and then unfortunately they become a victim to it. But at the same time, eventually you have to take accountability for your decisions. But I think a lot of women don't want to kind of hear, and like, it's much easier to blame the men instead of just looking and be like, "Hey, I gotta make better choices for myself as a woman."
Mm-hmm.
So
Sometimes them red flags just be looking good, and you gotta stop
Yeah.
chasing them.
let me let me ask you guys. Yeah, when you guys have girlfriends, and I have a lot of family members with multiple baby daddies and multiple baby mamas. All right, so I'm sure you have friends like that. Do you find that their mentality is more, "Hey, look, at some point I gotta make a better decision and take accountability," or you see that their mindset is just more, "No, it's not my choices, it's the men, the
Mhm.
men." And why when you have conversation with them, is it hard for them to accept that perspective that it's, "Hey, you gotta choose better," or it's more just like, what, it's the men is the problem, I'm not the problem? What do you
You're
guys?
talking about the one.
Well, I'm talking about
You're talking about like the female that has multiple.
Yeah, that has
multiple-
bad
They keep
choices.
chasing certain
children from
types.
different baby daddies, and
yeah.
she says she's not the problem.
Yeah.
She's got a problem.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
the problem. There's
Yeah.
a common
Yeah.
denominator, and it's you,
Okay.
girl.
Why do you think?
She's the one. The reason why Walmart makes the 4-pack daddy cards for Father's Day.
Ouch,
Type of
Mom.
thing.
Damn.
So yeah, she has a problem.
Shout out to Walmart.
Yeah, for taking
but to
that
be
time.
honest, I would agree with you. Walmart is not the best place to go look for men.
It's not.
Go to Target. Go to
Target
Target.
would never.
Target, better quality of
Target would
men.
never.
Better quality of men and women at Target.
I mean, just like my intro, I seen somebody in the comments. I don't know who it was, but I seen somebody comment on my intro. When you were asking us like what we look for in relationships. And I said that I only date Tongans and you have to be 6'2". That was a joke. Hee hee ha ha with me. Don't drag me for that. But
Wow.
Okay, it's not a joke.
Louise.
I love
Stop.
my Tongan men.
Stop
and
lying.
yes, I prefer tall guys.
Okay.
I'm
Just
5'7".
be
We can't be
honest.
looking eye to eye.
Just be honest. You want a 6'2" Sione
I
Yake.
do. Jonah, if you're out there, DM me, baby. I'm over here waiting for you. Dang, what was I gonna say?
No, I don't
You
know.
interrupted me. Well,
You're gonna give out your phone number.
my number's 909.
Natalie.
You said this number.
Dang, I forgot what I was gonna say.
No, we were talking about why is it hard for women to accept that it's their choices. it's their lack of ability to choose better men. But
Oh,
so the men's a problem. I'm not the problem.
because when you're attracted to a certain type, it's hard to break that, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I'll use myself for example. So I've always been attracted to the bad boys, you know,
Yeah.
like
What is a bad boy?
I've always been attracted to like the gangsters, the thugs, like,
Okay.
and then I always complain about the shit that all the gangsters and the thugs
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But then the girls, like, I don't know, I feel like girls like that's old Natalie.
Yeah.
You know, and then like a big thing for me was like, you know, with bad boys, you have that like security, like you have the security of a woman, like to be able to say like, oh, you better not, because you know, I'll go get my man and he'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
If I can't say that, I can't date you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I have to date a guy that can fight.
Yeah.
So when girls are like attracted to like those type of guys, and then like, you know, the good guys might be a square dude that like, goes to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I can't date him. He's too soft for me. Oh, he's too nice for me. And then we stick him in the friend zone.
Yeah.
And then we're over here like, oh my gosh, where are all the good guys at? Girl, you friend zoned him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like it's women like that that get stuck with like the multiple baby daddies.
Yeah.
Because you stuck to your type and you can't break that.
Yeah.
You gotta be open minded. You gotta break out of that. I feel like it's a maturity thing when you start growing up.
Mhm.
Can I ask you an honest question?
Oh shit. What?
Because you know, I know this is your mom, right?
Mhm.
And she said that you had a great husband, right?
Mhm.
So how did you go from a father being a great husband and you want to look for
So
thugs?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Remember, we got a long ride home. So.
That's fine. You guys say anything you want to, mama. Yeah, I don't know. It was just things. I don't know. With our generation, we started like listening to different music, different things. Like we started being influenced by different things. Our generation is hella different from my parents. Like
Yeah.
I'm on my dad's side, I'm second generation here in America. I'm first generation here in America. My mom's first on her side, so I'm second on my mom's side.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Being here, like life here in the States was different from.
Where were you before? You were only in the States.
No, I'm talking about your guys' generation compared to mine. Like,
Yeah, but how
Oh,
did
yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how did you go
to
to
be honest,
like
it
the
started
thugs,
with my brothers.
like the thugs and the
It
gangsters?
started with my brothers. I don't know. My brothers started doing the whole trouble thing, and then I followed them. Like, not to not to put my brothers on top, but, you know, like I don't know. Things are just different. The kids are different in our generation. Like, you know, friends being different in our generation. Times are different. Like
Okay.
with my mom, we used to be able to like play in the front yard. If I can't hear her whistle, if I'm not home before the street light comes on, you know, I don't know. Things are different with our generation. So with the, I don't know.
Once
with
you
that-
finish that, when you guys aren't home before the lights get on, then what happens?
We're gonna finish this conversation later.
Who was like the first bad boy that
That I had a crush on.
you had a crush on that impacted you? Like I like this type of guy. Was it in high school? Was it middle school?
Dang, it was like elementary.
Okay.
Wow.
Was he Tongan?
No, he was black.
Oh, he was black. Okay.
Yep.
And that changed you. That changed you forever.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
Okay.
Took a turn there as a
Okay.
kid. Yeah.
Was there any good boys that even like tried to talk to you that you kind of curved them for the foot?
Dang, yeah. To be honest, there was quite a few, and I regret it.
Yeah.
But you know, you live and you learn to live.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Anything want to add on? You guys want to add on to that?
I just need some more Kava.
Don't look so stressed. Mom.
Nobody's stressing
question?
over here. I ain't stressing. Maybe we should have
What was your
spiked this
question,
Kava.
Will?
Huh?
What was your question that you asked Natalie?
No, so I was trying to figure out how, because my general question for her was because you know she just said that you know she had a good husband. Like how, because that was her father. How did she go from seeing a good guy to go chasing the gangsters and the bad
I
boys?
was right behind you.
Her, thank you. Back up right here.
Yeah, but I don't know what's because I do see that I know a lot of because are you guys Mormon? Are you guys religious?
Yes, we are not active right here.
Oh, okay. No, because
Less active, but still
I'm inactive right now, but I do know there's a lot of the girls that come from like the traditional religious Tongan father or family, they typically go and seek the bad boys. So I'm just trying to figure out why that happens. Do you think is it because maybe it's too controlling or being very strict that causes a lot of girls to?
Strict. Have you ever heard that quote? Where strict parents create sneaky kids.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that the reason? Can Tongans
That's true.
be too strict with the daughters? Who
Oh
go look,
my gosh, yes.
want to go find a.
Dude, my brothers could do everything. I could not do anything.
Yeah.
And because of that, I found ways.
Natalie.
It's right behind you.
Was it the window or the back door? I don't know.
It was both.
It was the window.
Mine was the front door.
But then you have families like that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean like, because every family's different.
Yeah.
So for an example, there's like, there could be a strong family in a church.
Yeah.
And the father is like a Phi Theta or
I think,
something.
yep.
But then all his sons are always the ones in jail. And I had a lady where we used to live a long time ago. I'm not going to say where, but they had said, why is it that it's always the pastor or Phi Theta or bishop? It's always their sons that are always in jail. But why does that happen to families? That was a discussion back then.
Yeah.
I don't remember what everybody said. They had a lot to say, but it's not like it's only in the blood or why'd you fill in my cup? Yeah. And then, so I just think that it happens. It happens to family. I mean, we're human. It's not like, oh, that always happens to their family. Oh no, all the brothers are so nice. It just happened to that brother, him and his kids type of thing. So I don't think it personally goes to.
So what causes that? Because there are religious families where the children are okay, right? But there are religious families where the girls and the guys are just they fall. They'll go the opposite of what their parents expect them to do. So what's the difference? Like why does that happen? What's the difference between having a strong religious family and all the kids follow and stay on the right path compared to the kids who decide to go opposite of that and go chase, like especially with women, to chase the bad boy and the gangster? What's the root issue?
It's you. It's whoever. I mean, if you're an adult,
Yeah.
just like what we said just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Like on my Facebook page, I just be having a lot of very bold, blunt adult statuses.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Tongans that are on my page.
Yeah.
And some people come through and they say, oh, I see you still haven't changed. You're still joking like this. And I always say, well, you know what? My page is not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's just for a good laugh, for a good mature person that just wants to, I mean, because I don't sit there and put all my personal stuff out on my page. Sometimes I do, but I mean, not like that. But I joke a lot on my page.
Yeah.
And so if you don't like it, get the hell off my page.
Yeah.
You don't like it. I tell everybody that. But this is the thing. My mom taught me well. I just chose different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing with our kids. You can do anything and teach your kids the best Bible quotes and go to church and do all this stuff. They're still going to get up and make their own decision.
Yeah.
A lot does have to do with, family and their upbringing.
Yeah.
And then some people know how well they were brought up and they just choose different.
So do you think it's more of the matter of parenting, the way that's the difference between the kids that follow the good path with their parents compared to the ones that kind of go opposite?
I think that's a big factor. I don't think that's everything.
Yeah.
I was brought up by Phi Theta
Oh, okay.
and I left home.
Yeah.
I left because I didn't want to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And everything I did in that household, I would just leave the front door, let them know where I'm going and come back. And I just didn't want to go that route.
Yeah.
Just being against them. And as for the guys, they were just bad. And I was attracted to bad. And anything that broke the rules, I was like, I'm all for you. But that broke me in the end.
So what could have been done differently for you to not feel that way and to want to follow the rules?
I mean, my story was just crazy. And if I could do anything different, it would be to nofomao and stay home and
Yeah.
listen to my parents and just really look at my uncles as the father figures in my life.
Yeah.
So that's what I would have done different, like back then.
Yeah.
But I found me a good man, so I'm good. But them bad boys.
Oh, shit, go ahead.
Do you think it's the having sitting down with the parents being more involved with some kids?
Almost.
Because I think one of the things I've had a conversation about this topic about parenting is every kid's different, right? So you have to be able to adjust your parenting to every kid.
Mhm.
Because I know my family, you know, I was raised with my grandma. My grandma was hardcore, strict, you know, Tongan. Some of the family members that my cousins that we grew up with, there, some of them are traumatized by our childhood. But to me, I never had a problem with the way she raised us because I just understood that. But you know, I guess for them, they were more the sensitive side where they needed that one-on-one sit downs, or maybe they needed, hey, I love you more. You know, they needed that. I didn't need that. I just,
More affection.
yeah, I was just a little bit more, I guess, hardcore in my mentality. But I do understand every kid's different. Some kids you just can be upfront and direct. Hey, get your shit together, and they'll listen.
Mhm.
But then some kids, like, you know, they're gonna being very direct about being upfront, or especially when it comes to discipline, they'll push them away from you. So, do you think it's just different types of parenting that Tongans need to understand and improve on? You can't just raise their kids the same way and hit them the same way, discipline the same way.
That's true. You can't.
No.
I think that would make a big difference.
Yeah.
Like tailoring your parenting
Yeah.
to each child.
Yeah.
I think that's huge because the way like the type of parenting I need from like my mom and my dad is very different from like my brothers. I'm the only girl. I'm the youngest of 4.
Yeah.
I have 3 older brothers, and then I'm the youngest and only girl. My parenting that I need from them is very different from my brothers. Like I need like, you know, a lot of one-on-one talking, and like that's the reason why I'm so open with my mom. I talk about everything with her. Like she knows everything now.
Yeah.
Like, and I can talk to her about it because I feel like she never judges me, and like it's always a safe place. Like everybody's like, dang, dude, you're that close with your mom. Like, yeah, because my mom doesn't judge me. You know, like she'll sit and listen and understand, and you know, I'm able to do that with her.
Okay. All right. I see Mr. DFW. Shout out to you, Mr. DFW. I haven't seen you here before, so shout out to you. Thank you so much. But let's get that live chat active. Let me know what you guys think. I do want to shift back to the topic about earning. How can a man earn a woman's submission? So, but yeah, how does a man earn your submission? I believe one of my criticisms about the dating culture today, there's a lack of intent and purpose of how people date. I believe that when it comes to dating, the purpose should be for marriage and for children. I mean, because ultimately that's what you want at the end, right? So hooking up with people that don't want that responsibility or have that vision for themselves, you're putting yourself at risk to might have children with a guy that doesn't want that. So that's my issue with the hookup culture, the casual dating culture. So can we agree that submission is also not only mentally, emotionally, but also physically, right? So in today's culture, what a guy doesn't really have to do a lot to be physical with you and to be with you, right? So I know guys that, you know, they just go on Tinder, swipe, and then 2 days later he's with the girl on a date, and then, you know, they're already being physically intimate, right? So that's just the that's just the culture today. So there was a time where before you even had sex was, you know, you had to meet the father, you had to meet the family, you know, there has to be a discussion, okay, of marriage. They have to look at you, make sure you have a good reputation. Is he a good guy from the village, or wherever you're from, the big city, or you're from Utah, for everybody out there. But there was a big emphasis and process for guys had to go through just to be with the girl, right? But today that's no longer required. So I always have to tell women. I tell girls all the time. Your submission, if you want to submit to a guy, submit to a guy that's worthy of your submission. He has to earn it.
Mhm.
What has he done to prove to you that he's worthy of your submission? But also he's worthy to be with you long term, because at the end of the day, you're gonna want to have children, you want to find a family. Whether you're ready for that responsibility or not, if you're having sex, that is a possibility. So you have to prepare yourself if that ever happens, because that's a possibility if you're having sex. So if you're allowing this man to come into your life and you want to submit to this guy, make sure that this guy has to go through a process and earn that for you before you allow him to come to your life, not emotionally, mentally, spiritually, but especially physically. But sometimes I have to put the accountability. I know there's bad guys out there, but that's why I have to tell girls all the time, like, just be selective, because there's guys out there that are gonna play that part. You're gonna waste your time,
Mhm.
because that is the culture they want. This is the culture we live in today. So they'll pretend like they're your husband, they pretend like you're their long-term future, but once they get what they want, they're gonna leave. So how you prevent that is he has to earn it. There has to be a period of time you can see consistency over a long period of time. And when I say long, it's not 2 weeks. Some people, I've heard girls, okay, I'll give him 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Shit, damn. All right, 2 week notice. Okay.
But you get those guys that feel like they don't, or they shouldn't have to earn it.
Well, but here's do you know why guys don't feel like they have to earn it?
Because they think they're the prize.
No, that's
No, because with other women it's so easy.
there we go. Because other women no longer require it.
So then that causes like some girls to think like, dang, am I doing too much?
That's
Like,
the
I really
thing.
like this
That's the
guy.
thing.
Like,
Yeah.
dang, should I lower my standards a little bit?
Because-
And then
Because traditionally back in the day, like 50 years ago, there was a standard among like most women, right? Like a man had to meet the dad, father,
Mhm.
marriage had to be
Honeymoon
the
phase.
discussion, right? So that was the standard, and then everybody, and if any girl wanted to go outside of that, any girl wanted to go outside of that, that would be the girl, like, that'd be shamed, right?
mhm.
You'd be, oh, focusy, the Tongan culture. So, but now that standard is no longer among all women. So the reason why a lot of guys don't think that they have to earn it, because they've been with girls who didn't require that from it.
Mhm.
So while there's a term that a lot of people use online, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
Ooh, I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So why do I need to earn to be the man that you want me to be and take that responsibility when I could just be with your friend who doesn't require that from me, or your sister?
And
or
he's
your
an
cousin.
asshole if he's gonna be like that. If he
Right.
tells you that,
No, I disagree with it, but I'm trying to
Yeah.
explain why guys
Yeah.
think like that.
Hmm.
Okay, you don't want to do it?
Ladies,
Pfft, I got another
Yeah.
girl
Go
on the
find your
way.
Johnny Go.
All right. But then a lot of girls think but like you said, but here's the thing, like you said, if you have a type, that's gonna be hard,
It is hard.
right? Because now it's gonna not only you have a specific type, but now you want that type, but also a good guy that is their type.
You become blind to everything else.
Yeah.
Like you're only looking for that type.
Yeah.
You gotta break that.
Okay. So yeah, but that's my question to you, because some of the things I've heard from women online of what a man needs to do for her to submit, it's crazy to me, because I've heard girls say, what do you need a man to do to be with you? He just needs to be funny, good looking, 6'2".
yeah.
Italian.
Yeah.
Got there, name's-
Yeah, tattoos.
Prison
Makes a lot of money.
Wow.
Joke, guys. It's a joke.
So I've heard. So for me, it's like those are not quality that show that he's a good guy. That doesn't reflect it. Like a guy's height doesn't reflect his moral character and his commitment and his faithfulness to you, right? So there was a big emphasis on values back in the day, but now it's no longer based on moral values no more. It's just based on the outside appearance of what he
Top
has,
surface
what he can
type
do
stuff.
for you, superficial stuff.
Mhm.
So my question I want to ask you guys is like, if you want a long-term husband, you want a good guy that's gonna treat you right, raise your children responsible. What does that guy have to do to earn your submission?
Be consistent.
Like what specific things he has to do? Like what does he have to do?
Be himself, be consistent, go to work.
Consistent
okay,
in
wait,
what?
can I? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Um,
consistence is too vague.
No, like
Can I ask you a question?
yeah,
Because you're married, what did your husband do for you? To what was the point in your relationship when you realized, damn, this is a good one?
his character.
Okay, what did you? What can you explain
He
his
was
character?
angalele, like everything about him, the way he carried himself, the way he spoke to others, the way he treated others, the way
Okay.
he worked.
Yeah.
Everything about him was like manly, and it was just like, man, you're such a great guy. But there's a lot that he brought to the table as well that, and I knew I could bring
Okay.
to the table.
Yeah.
So I felt like we were very compatible. So like there was a lot of things, the way he thinks, like I don't know, is that
Okay, so yeah, Angalele, everybody watching, that's good,
good character?
good character. Nice. Is that nice? Is that
Yeah,
nice?
it's very
Angalele is nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Another thing, like he was family or everything that
Oh,
I,
family
yeah,
oriented.
family oriented. Everything that I prayed for and wrote in my notebook of what I wanted in a man is what he was.
Okay.
So like that was just
Yeah,
my husband.
God
I
sent them
knew.
your way.
Yeah.
That's why you keep praying, everybody. Lot to get life.
Right in.
Lot to get life.
Mhm.
All right. So
Yeah.
he's a moral character. He worked right. He had a consistent. He wasn't a lazy bum, right?
No.
Okay. So okay. I'll pass it to you.
I think finding someone who knows how to talk to you when he's angry, like
Patience. Someone who has patience.
knows how to communicate respectfully. Like, don't get disrespectful, even if you're mad. That's
So it's
huge.
respectful.
Mhm.
Okay.
Even in times under pressure, like, it's easy to be respectful when things are going smooth, but when those storms hit, is he still going to keep that respect level up?
Okay. Can you guys list the top three? What are like the top three things in your perspective a man has to have first to even have a conversation that okay you're the type of man or you've earned it?
For me, the top one is respect.
You think the top one is respect?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be moral character.
Mhm.
So it's morality. Okay, what's number two?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were all. I thought this was a
so
group
what,
effort.
oh, okay. So for you, number one is moral character.
Mhm.
Okay, what about you? Number one is
Go ahead and pass it around.
okay. I'll come back to you. What do you think is number one?
For me,
Yeah, a man has to earn your submission. What's
respect.
respect? Okay, what's number two?
Honesty
Honesty.
was my first one. Sorry.
Oh, number one.
Yeah.
Honesty. Oh yeah. Okay. Honesty. Okay. That's yeah. You don't want a dishonest, a liar,
Yeah,
a cheater. Okay.
lies.
Honesty. Right. Not that. Okay. What's number two?
Mine would probably be honesty.
Hmm. And then
Okay.
my second one would probably be your first. Respect.
Those days.
Okay. Oh, what were you? Number two.
Well, it's in the same, line. I want to trust him. I want him to trust me with
So trust.
honesty.
Trust.
I mean,
okay.
because those are the things that's really attractive to me
Mhm.
in my husband. It is so sexy for me
Mm.
to see my husband trust me and then love me and respect me. That is what is the number one thing to me
Okay.
in a Tongan.
Oh.
I mean, because a lot of qualities that my husband had, it was in a Tongan that I wouldn't even expect, because he was born in Tonga.
Yeah.
And I was born here.
Okay.
So he with everything from him, like, this is the things that he would say to me. He would be like, and remember, he's from Tonga.
Yeah.
He's so in the Tongan way.
Yeah.
And I'm from here, and I'm more blunt, and I cuss a lot. I'm just really like bold with a lot of stuff. And this is the first time I ever got embarrassed, because I was like, wait, what the fuck? What did you just say? Because like, he threw me off.
Yeah.
He was like, what is it? This is my second husband.
Yeah.
So he was like, before we got married, he said, well, at the beginning of our marriage, he was asking me and looking at me straight in the
Yeah.
face and be like, babe, I want you to tell me, like, what is it that you want me to do as a husband? Like, what do you crave? What is you as my wife? What do you crave as my wife from me? What do you want from me?
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Am I really listening to somebody from Tonga?
Yeah.
Like, damn, he came from Tonga, like when he was what? We're both 57. And he came from Tonga when he was like 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
And his first language is Tongan.
Yeah.
But he was asking me stuff that I was just like, it really threw me off.
Oh.
But it was turning me on at the same time.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? Ooh, wait till we get, but that's what I mean. He was a Tongan, a real Tongan from Tonga that
Yeah.
goes through all the whaka'apa stuff like that. And I have to change my clothes when we go to the sister's house type of thing.
Yeah.
And he was asking me that. I was embarrassed.
Oh, okay.
But those kind of things especially from a Tongan, because I'm Tongan, that to me was just my whole world. Like, I'll do anything for you.
See,
Like,
it's
I
the
was
simple
crawling all over the
things.
floor. I was doing every single thing for my husband, type of thing. So with my husband doing that, he is just really, really like, I will never, ever think I would find anybody like my husband.
Oh,
I mean, not that I'm looking,
yeah.
because he is just like,
Yeah.
I don't want, there's his taonga and everything. He just had everything I never expected from him. And I love that about
Yeah.
him.
All right.
He set the bar.
I
Yes,
know.
he did.
See, it's the simple things.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say when you asked me what do you crave, my first thing in my mind was like Lucy P.
So everything is different with every question,
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
kind of look at it like that.
All right. So I know you guys mentioned a lot of values, but how important is a man's ability to financially provide? Shouldn't that be? Is that up there in the top 3?
No,
No.
because, well, for me, no.
Yeah. Top 3?
It's not top 3. No, it's not important because I
is-
know I can get it too. Like, if he's lacking somewhere, like if he lost his job or something, then I could just.
So if you had 2 guys,
Mhm.
one was when it comes to working and being financially stable, very lazy. But then I guess he is very patient, very honest when it comes to his morals, right? The other guy, very hardworking when it comes to financially providing for his family, but he needs a lot of work on when it comes to his, I guess, his morals.
That one,
Which one would you put?
the second one.
The second?
That can change.
Okay.
I mean, so can the other one.
I was
Both
about to say, I was like,
change. Sorry, they can both change, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's whoever. I guess mine would be the one that I'm like attracted to. Like,
No, I do.
the mindset.
Yeah, I do agree. Morals and values is it should be number 1, because if a man with good values and morals, like he would naturally go to work, right? He would naturally go to work. But we also have to emphasize how important, a guy that's consistently going out there and working, because
Gets overwhelming.
no, because I know a lot of girls. No, because I know a lot of girls like you, because I can work, but I think I don't have a problem with you working, but I think you should always expect if he calls himself a man to work, and then whatever you do is extra.
Yeah.
It's not a requirement. So if you want to bring money to the table, that's fine. But I believe one of the main responsibilities as a man, because you can get when you have kids, you need time off.
Yeah.
So he needs to be the one to step up and handle the business and let you be able to raise the children. But I do see this with a lot of women because we live in a society today that women can make their own money. They don't really require that from a lot of guys. So a lot of guys don't feel they have to go out there and work for their woman because I can depend on my woman. I don't think that is good long term. Because when you have kids, you're gonna be like, yeah, I know you've been doing like 40% of the bills, but now I want to have this kid and my body's changing. I need to focus on the baby. I need you to go from 40% to 100%. And then the guy's like, I'm good. I'm comfortable with the 40%.
Oh, man. It's so horrible.
So
But it'd be nice to have somebody that had everything, all those
Yeah.
things.
But don't you think that's that should be top three?
He
Don't
probably
you,
wouldn't be Tongan.
don't you think that's a top? That should be a top three, or okay, a guy with morals and values, but also he wants to be a provider, protector. Because a lot of guys don't feel the need to provide and protect anymore. Because girls can work, they can just depend on you.
True.
So yeah, I mean, what's your? Don't you think that? What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm not gonna deal with a lazy
Yeah.
guy. I can't do it. You have to have drive. You have to have goals.
Does he have to have? To earn your submission, does he have to have a good job?
Just
A job is a
A
good
job
job, no
is
matter
a-
what you're doing, the way I'm
Well,
looking at it.
Okay.
he can.
Well, let's be honest. If someone is working McDonald's, is that something that's worthy of submission?
It is if McDonald's up their pay.
Mm.
If let's be honest, if the guy you're dating is
The Wi-Fi required.
As long as you're running that employee discount on the
Right.
orders.
how confident in him and in his ability to provide you long term if it's working at McDonald's?
If that's a starting point, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a starting point.
He could be manager at McDonald's. He could be in the corporate office. It's still McDonald's.
Okay,
If he's working the drive-through at
he's
McDonald's.
working drive through.
I don't just.
Like I said, McDonald's, if they up their pay.
But we did. So the thing is, for me, is if you want men to be strong provider protectors, I think that's not only as men we have to raise boys like that, but I think as women, that has to be one of your standards.
Mhm.
But I do understand a lot of women today, because you can make money on your own, you don't require that in a lot of guys. But the thing is, it doesn't work long term, because when you involve kids and family, you want to raise your kids. But the guys that's not how he was raised. He's not a provider protector naturally.
Mm.
So when the time for him to bear that responsibility, that guy is gonna overburden him, because he's not used to that.
Mm.
But guys has always been provider protectors their whole life. It's natural for them. Like, I don't see it as a burden. This is what I do as a man.
Mm.
So even if going back to McDonald's, so I think because I think McDonald's pays like the same as warehouse people, around $15, $16, $17, something like that. But you still get the medical, dental, and vision. So to me, I'm looking at, it doesn't matter where he works, as long as he's trying, that could be a starting point,
Yeah.
and move to another job with like another $1 or $2 more.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be McDonald's for me if he was trying. And I mean, it's better than, not doing that at all, or trying to get on the state or something like that.
Yeah.
If he got, a job, that's why I said, if he has a job, remember, I think the most common thing I think in Salt Lake City is like the $15, $16 an hour.
Yeah.
I think that I think that the fast food places are around that. So, even though I got that about McDonald's and stuff, it's still a job. It's still almost the same pay as some places
Yeah.
that are paying the same amount as McDonald's or wherever. You still get the medical and dental. If
Yeah.
you're not looking like Siotuunga type
Yeah.
of thing, he's working. And
Yeah,
that's a
I'm not
start.
disrespecting the man who
Mhm.
work McDonald's. A
Yeah.
job is a job.
Mhm.
But if we're talking about a long-term
Mhm.
kids and family, especially in today's economy, let's be honest, McDonald's ain't gonna cut it.
Mm-mm.
Okay, depending on how many kids you want. How many kids do you want in the future?
15.
Okay, McDonald's is not gonna cut it. Okay, but I believe you made a great point. I believe as a woman, if you want to be kids and you want to be able to take time off and raise your kids, even if you've worked at McDonald's, but you find a guy with good morals and values, if you don't want to, if you understand that that's what you wanted for your future, you have to tell that guy, look, I know you're working at McDonald's, but my long-term, I want to have 15 kids with you. So are you going to be able to have a plan to keep rising from this point now, 5 years from now, you're going to be a different situation. I think that's where the conversation was happening. I think that's why families met together, because, when men had to meet the dad wasn't going to take a bump to marry his daughter. He's going to be like, how can you provide for my daughter? And that's why they had the dowry system back in the day. The dowry system was because we wanted to see, okay, do you really got it? Do you have the ability to financially provide for my daughter? So if the guy came and he couldn't afford the dowry, then they was like, oh man, this guy broke his shit. So Today, I think a lot of guys don't feel like that they have to earn because I think you guys can earn your money. So I can just do it because my man can depend on me. But I think it's going to backfire on you long term when children starts. It's good when you guys are dating with no kids. But when you have children, I think most girls, most women, when they have kids, you're going to have that feminine nature to, I just want to raise my kids. And I want some time somebody has to raise the kids. So I know most girls they'll prefer to stay back and raise their kids and not the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying is, does he, if the guy, McDonald's is not going to cut it. So what's the standard for you? Like what's considered, okay, a stable job that I can trust that, okay, there's some financial future for this guy.
Like, are you asking me for like a dollar amount? Like,
Yeah,
how
what's
much
the
he makes annually?
Yeah, what's the how much he has to make?
Mm,
I'm not answering. We're living comfortably.
Because he can't be. I mean, McDonald's is what, $30,000 a year,
mhm.
all right? So, $30,000 in living here in California. You can probably need some government assistance, all right? So, if you want to, because like I said, we're talking about submission now. If you can't trust his ability to provide for you, you're not going to submit to that guy, right? If you meet a guy that's broke and he can barely provide for himself, how is he going to provide for you? So I know that's going to be an issue for you to fully trust him and submit to him. Because if he's working McDonald's and he tells you, hey, babe, come home at 3:00 in the morning, shut your McDonald's ass up. Let's be honest.
Go eat your nuggets, Dad.
Let's be honest. You McDonald's ass motherfucker telling me to come home, go to work at another shift. So you want to be able to fully submit and listen to him. He has to show to you like, okay, he's a man and a man that can provide for me, not only emotionally, physically, but also financially. So where does he have to be financially for you to be like,
$10 amount?
yes, to be like, okay, I trust you. You're that man for me. I'm not gonna push back against you because you can show me that you're going out there and hustling and busting your ass to take care of me. So where does that man have to be at financially for you to get to that point? To fully submit to him.
If I had to give you a dollar amount,
Yeah.
I don't know, like 70 to 80.
Okay, that's normal. 80,000. Okay. How about you?
I'm not answering. But we're living comfortably. We are.
Okay.
See, our generation is very different. So how many years ago, when did I get married?
To my dad or
Yeah, to your dad.
in 1989?
Okay, there we go. So in
How
1989,
do I know that?
back then, her dad, I thought about that back then, but it wasn't a big issue. To me, he yapted our whole marriage.
Mhm.
We were together 27 years before I left that marriage. But that was a thought when we started. We got married and I thought, oh, I don't care, because the main thing to me, I loved him so much. I
Yeah.
was so obsessed with him. I loved him.
Yeah.
And I went with him. We ran away and got married.
Yeah.
And then so with him yating, because that's all he did, he's not the type that would want to clock in and be bobula to the time. But he yated and we survived 4 kids later.
Yeah, you still handle
Yeah.
his responsibility.
Because back then it wasn't in me to think financially. I wanted to marry him.
Yeah.
So I went with him. And we bought a house on the way, and just things got rocky, but he still was the best provider for me and all my children.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's different back then.
Yeah.
So right now, yeah, it's very different right now.
Because I know, because I know the older generation type guys I talk to, they were raised that a man has to provide for his family fully.
Mhm.
So that was the understanding for a lot of the older generation. So they just went out there every single day, whatever the yacht did, whatever job they did. What if they work 2-3 hour jobs? What if they? I mean, I know a lot of guys. They'll work 15-hour jobs, but in their mind, this is my role as a man. This is my responsibility. If I'm not doing this, how can I call myself a man? So that was a mindset for a lot of guys, and they went out there and they they sacrificed themselves so their family was taken care of. But today, a lot of women are saying they lose their trust in their men because men are no longer that type of mentality. That they're complacent, they're lazy, they're not going out there and hustling to provide. We're not saying that you have to be a multi-millionaire. We're not saying that you have to live a very lavish lifestyle, but you just want some security that we have a home. Our kids can come to. We can pay the things, the school and the fees and the bills. We can maintain a household. But the guys did that. But now guys, we live in a society today that what the girls are saying is, it was good in the beginning when we both work, but now we have kids now and we're getting older, and then there's no drive for him to take the full 100% role, and it's causing a lot of issues in the relationships. And that's why for me is, if you go in a relationship, I think that man, you should, at least if it's not there, but have a plan to eventually take over and be that full 100% provider protector, especially if you have a lot of kids, because it's going to be hard if he's working, you're working, and then you have to, when the kids are involved, you not only have to do a job but come home and take care of the kids. It's hard to do both roles instead of just separating the role between a man and a woman. Because what I've heard from a lot of women is, I pay 50% of the bills, but he still expects me to do 100% of the things at home. So I have to work a full shift just like him, but I have to come home, I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to raise the kids, put the kids to bed. And that's causing a lot of stress for a lot of women, because most of those roles they leave that to you because you're the woman. But a lot of women are saying, "This is too much. I have to do everything." No,
Yeah, because some women are fukapupuaka. They don't want to do it. They push it on the husband. But for me, I'm different because I've always been like that. I feel like that is my job, and I will cook and clean and take the kids a bath and clean the yard and do everything else. I know a lot of women don't agree with it. They want to share, and then everybody's different, though. That's just me.
Yeah.
Some will push the husband to do something because she did this and you do that, and then some husbands agree.
Yeah.
So every household is different.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring some videos. I'll see you, Milagros, on the live chat. Phil, Underground Rose, Lord Punisher. Thank you so much for everybody out there. My last question, because we're talking about finances, I wanted to ask, why do women, because I see this on a lot, why do women choose to be with guys with no job? Because I've seen guys with no job and then they're in a relationship with the girl. I just don't understand.
I'm telling you, it's the girls that have a type.
They have a type?
Mhm.
They have a type? It's just a type thing?
Those red flags be looking so damn fine sometimes.
Them guys with no jobs know how to talk.
They got a lot of time
Got a lot of time
those
to practice
lines.
how to talk.
And those lines be working
They know what to
sometimes.
say at the right time.
Oh, okay.
And they got a lot of time for
And they
you.
got a hell of time.
Mhm.
Okay, so the guy with jobs.
Attention, everything.
Okay,
Right?
so
the guy
okay.
with job is too busy and he's tired. He's trying to think of what to charm you up with.
Yeah.
But cheers to the men with jobs.
Okay, all right. No. It's always. I do agree. I think there's if you have a type, and you don't know what a man's supposed to do, then you go with the guy with no job. But I don't think people are raised in the mentality of marriage, so to understand what you should be looking for. Because if you're looking for marriage, it's common sense. You're not going to date a guy with no job. Like
Mhm.
that's common sense. You're not going to.
Some people do.
But that's what I'm saying.
Sorry.
No, what I'm saying is, no, I agree. What I'm saying is, if you were raised with the mindset like you date to marry and you date for long term, then you understand you can't date a guy with no job, because long term, and how's he gonna take care of the family if he has no job? If he doesn't have the own drive for himself to do it. So, but I think we date today for not for family, for marriage. We date for fun and just yeah. So
Wow.
Dang.
and I think because girls can pay their own bills, so you know what, I'll pay the bills. I just need a partner. I just need some emotional support.
And then you got those girls who pay the bills and they know they can pay all the bills.
Yeah.
And if they can pay the bills, they ain't gonna listen to you.
But that's what I'm saying is, I think long term it doesn't work out, because I don't think a woman would respect you as a man if you're just sitting at home doing nothing. and she's paying the bills.
I don't think anybody will respect you.
Yeah. Do you think women can respect a guy that just stays at home and pays bills and not pay bills?
Some people do.
Some people do.
Yeah, there's some people that
Like,
will.
because, I mean, like men go through a lot too, you know, and like for me, I'm like mindful of my man. Like if it's too much, like if you need a break or something, then, you know, I'm here to help you. We are partners, and
That's
you
so
know.
good. That's good. Like, you know, like what she says. So that's another. And then I will bring up another that, well, some women don't mind their man staying home while she does, you know, she earns all the good money and she knows she makes good money. Because some women, I mean, she's got a good man, like what she was explaining.
Yeah.
But then you also have those women that have cheating husbands where she would want him to stay home so I can keep an eye on your ass. Let me go make the money and come home, make sure that you're home. So you do have those kind of people, though. Realistically, you do.
You think him staying at home is gonna stop him from cheating?
You know what? It's less for her to worry about because she knows you're home, especially the yate ones. Because remember, the yate ones, you don't clock in and out. You just go to work and then you say, "Oh, I'm going to go estimate. I go out of here and go lunch with somebody else."
What is
type of thing?
cheating? That's the real question.
But anyways, that's a different topic.
No, because I've heard a lot of women would say, "Well, what if my man needs a break, or what if what if it's too much?" When men who believe it's their duty to provide and protect, they never see it as too much. They just understand this is what I'm supposed to do, right? I think with the guys who don't want that responsibility, the guys that have not been raised that way, I think for them it can be too much for them. And I think if that's gonna be a dangerous question, because if a guy that doesn't want that responsibility truly, he don't believe that that's his responsibility, duty as a man is to provide for his family, and you tell him, "Do you need a break?" He is gonna take advantage of that. He's gonna be like, "Yes, I need a fucking break. Please go get another job and pay my part of the bill."
Not mine. Well, I was just meaning like, because like my husband is mourning. He lost his mom.
Oh yeah.
You know,
That's understandable.
So,
yeah.
You know, when I see certain, like, I guess, how do you say it? Like when I see something like that is showing me that he is sad, or that there's something bothering him or something, like, or he doesn't want to go to work because he's like thinking of his mom or something like that, I'll step in and I'll go do a little bye-bye job real quick and then come back and like, you can just rest.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I'm coming from.
Oh, okay. All right, no worries. But I have just 3 videos I'm gonna react to. There's 3 Tongan videos, and we're gonna react to it, and we're gonna conclude the pod. So this is the first one I saw online, and I wanted to ask you guys this one. I wanted to ask you guys. Okay.
It was a very humble culture, and sometimes we're too quiet. Right. One of the reasons why I'm successful is because I learned how to speak up when I need to. The first couple of years in wrestling, me and another Tongan member would be getting such a low amount of pay every year, where the other guys who are not Tongan would be getting 3-4 times what we were getting.
Wow.
But I didn't blame them, because that's how they were taught and brought up, to ask for what you want.
Yeah.
Where our culture is just shut up, do what you're told.
What you get is what you get.
Yeah. You know, here's how much we can afford to give you. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, I'm so grateful because that's all they can afford. No, that's somebody. They would say no.
Yeah.
They will always throw the smallest amount at you. When I learned that, I started to experiment. I looked at it. I said, little bit higher, please. And they'll sit back and they'll look at me and they go, okay. You like that one? I said, better. But, I would have never been able to do that before. But, so I started learning throughout the years. I got to the point where I grab the veer and I chuck it around and I walk outside and they'll come running.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
come back.
That's
Come
an,
back.
They always try,
that's
they
an
always try to play with you, eh?
That's an interesting negotiation tactic there.
And that's
Sound
the
like
point
what?
of, learning to use your voice. And that's your voice right there.
I mean, but like you.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you guys, what's your response to that? Because Tongan taught to be humble, right? To be humble, and if you're not humble, then they'll if you kind of separate yourself from everybody else. What's that Tongan where they would always say, like, you're a female. So I don't believe in humility, and I'll explain to you why I don't believe in humility. But what's your response to that clip? Because I see a lot of Tongans that hey, just be humble, don't speak up. But I think a lot of the things, especially if you want to be successful in America, that can cause that might hinder you from your growth. Not only from being successful in America, but I think personally, your personal growth can be affected because to figure out really who you are, you would have to go outside your comfort zone a little bit and be able to be challenged the things that you were taught. And I think sometimes our parents or the Tongan culture were just told, hey, don't speak up, don't try to disagree with anybody, or don't try to do something different. I think that can hinder your growth as far as your personal development to go to the next level. But what's your response to that clip about humility? Do you think that we're too humble that it stops us from growing as a people?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
Not only with that applies to our people on like the business side of things when they open stuff like being like an event promoter. You always want to be nice and like humble and like, let all your family and friends into the event for free. And like, you don't want them to pay. It's a business. You're gonna let them, if your people really love and support you, they're gonna pay, they're gonna support you. And you have to understand that. Yeah. And then I think with when people treat you a certain way, just like the guy was talking about how he was paid less than, somebody else. That humble act that we're taught,
It goes away.
Just be grateful. Just be grateful. No, dude, like that's not fair. Speak up. Get what you're worth. Like get what's fair to you. Yeah. That reminds me, like my biological dad. That is so him. He will let so many things slide. Like people will be so shady to him. And I'm a firecracker. Like I get my attitude from my mom. Yeah. If somebody wrongs, it's a blessing. If somebody wrongs my dad, I automatically want to like check them.
And I still do that too.
Yeah. But my dad is always like, oh, it's okay. Just don't say anything. I don't want drama. Just leave it alone. And I'm like, fuck that, Dad. What the hell? F them people. Yeah. But he's so humble about it, and he's just like, it's okay. It's not worth our time. And I was like, I got time. I got extra time that it can be worth, like to check them. So yeah, I think.
And being like that too, it could also be damaging mentally. Yeah. I know it. I'm speaking for myself. Because I will never be nonga, if I was to, especially when it comes to like, the only time I think I'm really like that is because of her dad, the way, even though we're divorced, I will always love and respect her dad. We have a better relationship now that we're divorced than we did when we were married, type of thing. So when I see people disrespect her dad in front of people, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to shut up about it. And some people say, no, just leave him. No, well, how the hell you think he feels when they did that to, no. And so that caused, that family that, that us not talking today because of that. So And I bring that up because that's just a little bit what that clip was about. You know, oh, don't say nothing, just be respectful, you know, tawanga whakatonga, you know, I be melino, you know, type of thing. I can't do that. And when I get mad at things like that, I don't know what the word humble is, because I am not humble when I get pissed off at things that I know that, you know, is not right.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty much a very nice person, but when someone triggers me, I am a fucking bitch in 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, well. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, that's how I am. I don't like it when disrespect.
Facts.
I have respect for people, but I can lose it in less than a half a second.
Yeah.
So that's the type of person I am. I respect everybody everywhere I go, but I'm just trying to relate to that video clip. If you sit there and you, like for me, if I sit there and I'm just going to use myself, if I sit there and try to humble myself to don't, because it's a goyang, I can't do that. It will never happen in my life.
Okay. All right. What about you, Seta? What's your response to that clip?
I agree with both of the ladies. It reminds me of my husband. He's such a humbling guy, very passive, and I guess I'd react the same as them. Like if anyone comes incorrect towards him, I would speak up. You know, that's just me being defensive and a wife. But I agree with both of them. I would say the same thing as them.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. I mean, I know I agree with you. There's in our culture, when it's hard to not speak up, and especially when it comes to the older generation, especially when they're younger. I don't. The reason why I don't believe in humility, because the definition of humble, right? It's having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. All right. So not kind of not showing importance to your own importance, but put everybody else before you. I don't believe in being humble, but I do believe in being humble. No, I don't believe in humility. I believe in being humble, because I do believe ego. I know sometimes people would say ego was bad. I think ego is good, but I think you have to control your ego. But to live in this world, in the real world, where there are people that's going to harm you, there's kind of people that will take advantage of you, you need ego, because ego will be like, oh, I'm not taking shit from nobody. And you need to have that mindset to survive and to thrive in this world. You can't just let everybody take advantage of you. And I think one of the things as men and women, what truly makes a good man and a good woman is like somebody that stands by what they believe in. If I believe that this is what I deserve, and I believe this is what's good for me and my family, I'm not going to tolerate disrespect. But you need a level of ego, right? So I'm not saying to be egotistical, but I believe that you need some kind of confidence. You need ego. You need the mentality like, I'm not going to take shit from nobody, because it's an eat or be eaten world out there. And we've seen it all the time where people get disrespected and we're told, hey, not to, and the families will take advantage of you. So that's why I says I like being humbled better, because being humbled means you're willing to push your limits, but then you got smashed, you got kicked in the face, and then you get humbled. I was okay. I had a big mouth, but now my mouth was too big. I got smacked in the face. Reality check. I need to adjust my behavior. I'd rather somebody talk big and get humbled than somebody that was afraid to talk and said nothing. So I'd rather you say something, even though you might be out of line, you might disrespect people, but then you get humbled. Hey, next time you say that, you saw there was a consequence. Now you have to adjust behavior. You realize, oh, I said something that was out of line, and maybe I should have said it in a different way. Maybe it was not the time to speak. Maybe you speak it privately or something. But at least you spoke up. Then somebody just, you know what, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to disrespect. I don't want to offend anybody. That just seems to me that you're not willing to stand on what you really believe in. So I think when you stand by what you believe in, it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna always be a pretty conversation. It's gonna be hard, but it's better to go that route and then find out on the other way. But I think there's a lot of Tongans, and this might be triggering into a lot of Tongans, but I think a lot of Tongans use humility to hide their cowardice. Like, I'm just gonna keep it up front. Like I see there's a lot of people just being cowards, and instead, and then no, I'm just saying is I see people get walked all over, and I think they're just being cowards, and then they'll use humbleness to, oh, I'm just being humble. No, you're just a fucking coward, and you didn't stand up for yourself, for your family, for your mom, for your dad, for your kids, for your wife. How many times have I seen men just let their wife get torn apart by their family and do nothing to stand up for their wife?
That is hella deep.
That's
bro.
so deep.
Right. You know, the fahu, or you know, the uncle, the auntie, or the grandma will just destroy their wife. Man, oh no, I'm just trying to be humble. No, you're a coward. So that's why I believe I'd rather him just step up, and maybe the family will get mad at him. Maybe there's gonna be consequences. But I think that's a lot better than just saying doing nothing, unless the things that you know that's harmful for you and for yourself and for your family. I'd rather you at least fight and then figure it out fighting instead of just saying nothing and just getting beat on. So that's why I think, because sometimes when people tell you to be humble, I think they're telling you to suppress your ego, and I think ego is good because ego's telling you what you believe in. Like I have a voice in this. Like, I know this is what I believe in, and I think if you have a good ego and you're willing to believe in your ego, that's going to force you to fight for and go out there and be competitive. But if you don't fight for yourself and you don't have the ego and the arrogance, I think arrogance, like I said, I'm saying it not at the extreme level, but I think arrogance is good. You know what? Even though my family want to shit on my wife, fuck that. I'll burn everybody and cut all my ties. I'm gonna stand by my wife. That type of arrogance, I'll cut everybody off because nobody's gonna disrespect my wife. I don't care if it's my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters. I'll burn the whole house down if you're gonna disrespect my wife. So that type of, but I think that type of mentality, you gotta have that type of mentality if you fight for what you deserve and what you believe in. But that mentality where I don't want to disrespect anybody. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. You have to step on somebody's toe if you're gonna stand on business. Somebody's gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt, or they're gonna get hurt.
I like it.
So that's my thing with the, and I had to learn that my way because I was raised that way. I was always raised never to speak up at any, always be. But then I realized there was a lot of times in my life where I just let shit slide, for myself and for my own family. But then I just realized that I paid the consequences. There's the consequences of speaking up, but there's also consequences of never speaking up, fighting for yourself. And I just saw that too many people I got taken advantage of a lot of times, and I just got to a point where it's just like enough is enough. Like I'm gonna I'm gonna say what I have to say. I'm gonna stand by what I say, and I'll just be accountable for it. Whatever comes with it. If I lose friends, if I lose family, but I can't lose my dignity. I can't lose my self-respect for myself. That's something that values to me. So I'd rather, at least I can go home and look myself in the mirror that I fought for myself and have respect for myself, instead of hiding behind my humbleness and my cowardice, and then going home and know that I didn't really stand up for what I believe in. And I think that's gonna hurt you long way. So I agree. I agree with the guy. I do agree with that guy. But I think the Tongan culture is, I think it's too extreme when they. I do understand there's a good part. I do believe in the whakapapa, raising the children. But I think when it comes to respect and all these things, I think that's you give it to people who earn it. So just because you're a family member doesn't mean by default that I have to accept. You earn my. I'm supposed to give you my respect automatically. So I think there was a time when people respected each other and we act accordingly. But I just think today's time, I just think that a lot of Tongans are disrespecting each other, taking advantage of each other. But then we use the humbleness to avoid conflicts or to fix the conflicts, or use it in a way to manipulate people. Hey, I'm the OG in the family. You're supposed to listen to me. You're supposed to be humble. you're supposed to, my voice come first, and I think that's not beneficial for anybody. So, but yeah, anything you guys want to add to that?
No, it just reminded me of the girls talking. I don't want to listen to nobody. I'm independent. And this is not clicking. I'm like, it just reminds me of our earlier conversations.
Oh.
But no, thank you.
Okay. No, I think ego's good, but like I said, it's learning how to control your ego and learning how to control yourself. But the only way you can figure out like your ego is you have to push it. Like your confidence. The only way you can learn about how good you are, you have to push yourself towards it. And then when you push yourself, and then you realize, oh, okay, like confidence is good, right? If you think you can go out there conquer the world, I'd rather you have that and go out there be overconfident, and then get humbled, and then adjust your confidence. Okay, there's a big world out there. I need to check myself. I'd rather you be overconfident and having no confidence. So I'd rather you have ego, because the ego was like, I'm gonna fight everybody. I'd rather have you that mentality instead of I don't want to fight. I'd rather just get stepped on. At least you're willing to fight, then you're gonna learn. Somebody's gonna punch back and then be like, okay, now I gotta adjust my behavior. But at least you learn that I'm not the type of person that's gonna be pushed around. And I think Tongans get pushed around because they use the humility as an excuse for their cowardice.
Very true.
And I see this with families all the time, with kids all the time. So at least for me, with my parents. No, I just see that. I saw my parents, my family. A lot of my families don't agree with what I'm doing, but it's okay. I'm not gonna hide behind my being humble. But like I said, it's just accepting the consequences. And like one of the things we mentioned before, the making the content, and that triggered a lot of Tongans. And I know there's a lot of Tongans out there that hate my guts. So, but I had to,
Because of your podcast?
yeah, because of my podcast. But the thing is, my opinions of what I believe today, I'm more confident in my opinion and standing by what I believe in. I'm not going to feel sorry for the things I've said, because I said things I really believe in. Now that doesn't mean that if I'm wrong, I can change my opinion. I can change my perspective. I'll admit when I'm wrong, but how do I really know I stand by what I believe in if I'm not willing to say it openly to everybody? And I think sometimes if you can't do that, I think sometimes people will say something publicly, but then say something opposite privately. So, but yeah, that's just one thing I see a lot of times is they won't ask for the salary. They won't look for a better job. They're afraid to ask for things they deserve because they're hiding behind. They say, "Oh, we're just too humble." But the thing is, for me, is if you're going to be different, and if you want to stand out and be better than everybody else, you're going to have to shine, and you can't hide behind. You can't be afraid to shine because people can't handle that in your social circle. So. That was the humble one. And let me play this one real quick. I don't know if you recognize this. This one right here.
Looking at that method of teaching, how can we understand the gap? I think is probably
That's a
more
good
important
question. Yes.
Is how can we understand the gap and how can we bring cohesion across? Because I know the intent of young is to actually connect with elders, and the elders is to connect with young.
There's that old school method of
Yeah.
working. It doesn't work for everyone. Sometimes when you apply pressure, some personalities fold and some they thrive.
Yeah.
But in saying that, a lot of youth have disconnected because of that way of learning. It hasn't been a safe space for them to navigate.
Yeah.
So now they're totally disconnecting their identities.
Yeah.
It's kind of added some sort of friction into how they place themselves in society, how they view themselves and their confidence.
Particularly if it's in a church context or if it's in a cultural context, it is about observation, and sometimes even a look can communicate a certain thing. You don't even need to talk.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Auntie that looks at you.
The look is powerful. I think there is value in first understanding what is it about those ways of learning that have endured over the years. So there's a certain way of teaching certain tradition. They are, they're drawing on their experience. But when we look deep into the research as well, there are some aspects about our Pacific knowledge that is actually sacred and tapu. There is some sacredness with our knowledge systems that actually require you to be quiet and
I know that it's a long one, but I just want to. That was the clip I wanted. The part of the clip I wanted to watch. But yeah, I wanted to pass it to you guys. Bridging the gap between the older generation and the younger generation. That was the main focus of that conversation. I know there's a lot of conversation online. I saw that the younger generation just having problems with the older generation, and then the older generation having problems with the younger generation. And I think what she was saying is there has to be a way to bridge the gap between the generations. And I believe one of the mistakes a lot of us younger generation make is we try to judge our parents based on today's way of thinking. So one of the things I had to accept with the older generation is they grew up in a different time. So the reason why we may clash and disagree on a lot of things, or I disagree on a lot of things with my parents, but I don't have I've learned to accept it, even though I disagree with it, because I have to understand they just grew up in a different time. Because 50 years ago, people thought differently. 100 years ago, people thought differently. I mean, 50 years ago,
different.
Right? Yeah. I mean, 50 years ago, if you had sex before marriage, it was a big problem, right? Now you can show your ass online. Okay. to the way, the mentality of how we view things.
Very different worlds.
Two different worlds. Right now it's accepted. We want to show some butt online, and everybody welcome you and hey, high five you. All right, or maybe throw some money
It's
at you.
so different where right now you already had just listening to the way they and seeing the way they are brought up now.
Yeah.
So like now it's like, oh, okay, all right, just agree with them so you don't go through all that stress.
Yeah. So yeah. Well,
Type
I
of
mean,
thing.
yeah, because I know you have different generation. We grew up in our generation. What's your opinion about bridging that gap? And I think that's the issue with both sides. Because what I see with the younger generation, you want the older generation to understand you, but you don't want to understand them. When it comes to understanding, it has to be both ways. So if you want people to accept you, you have to be willing to accept them as well. So so when it comes to bridging the gap, I think sometimes we have to understand, look, we can accept that we may disagree on certain things, but at least we can accept that and then just take responsibility and move on with your life. But sometimes I just see a lot of the younger generation, they haven't accepted and taken that responsibility. So they use the unfortunate problems and issues in their own life and they'll blame it on their parents. And the reason why I'm the way I am today, and this is why my life has turned out this way, is because my parents never allowed me to go have friends, was strict. My parents never allowed me to speak up. That's why I have issues. That's why I'm going to therapy. That's why I'm going to rehab. I was like, no, your parents raised you the way they knew how, based on how they were raised. Your parents are always they did their best with what they know. So what we need to do is just learn from them and just take the good, because it can't be all bad because you're still alive today. If they were terrible parents, then you wouldn't be alive today. So at least there was some kind of effort that you were born, and they put a roof over your head, and they put some food in their table. And I think
You're alive, you're healthy.
That's what I'm saying is I'm from Tonga, so for me it's like you have food, you have shelter. What are you complaining about? Because that's all I
And
cared
your
about.
legs not amputated. Yeah, you had a good life.
Morning. So but I do understand the younger generation. They live more sheltered. They live in a very good life, so I don't blame them. So they don't understand the hardships. So for me, it's like, man, regardless of the problems I have with my parents, they went from Tonga and went to a foreign country and went through a lot. The things I never saw growing up, but we always had a roof and we always had food, and we had a good life, right? Maybe not the best life, but it was a life. But sometimes the younger generation, because there's a lack of understanding, we forget that. They just focus on, I have mental health problems. My parents don't believe in depression. Yeah, because they didn't grow up that way.
Right.
they just see things differently. So it's not, you can't expect your parents to understand your mental health and depression because they were raised in a different generation. So just accept that, right? If they don't want to understand and understand you, then take responsibility for your life to figure out your life and move on. But
both sides just have to be understanding and teachable.
that's true, right? So, but yeah, but there's a lack of bridging the gap, and then I think that causes a lot of people to become victims, Tongan people to own their problems. So, because I've seen that with a lot of Tongan people where, those libanga back home,
Yes.
the misinale and all that stuff. I hear a lot of, I don't participate in it, but I hear a lot of Tongans complain about fatongia. I see every single time there's a function or man, I have to give up money. It's like you don't, because they're the problem. I'm not the problem. I was like, yeah, your parents are asking you because that's what they were raised. So in Tongan culture, when we have functions, the procedure is people pitch in, right? So that's how they were raised. So they're always going to ask you for money. But you as an adult, you don't have to. If you don't want to participate in that, you can make that decision. So I've chosen myself. Look, if I don't got it, I will let you know I don't got it. I'm not going to give any money. If I do got it, I got you. But I know, you can hate me because I don't follow your traditions. That's fine. I've accepted it because I know that's how you were raised. But this is my life. So if I got the money, I'll give it to you. If I don't got it, I'm gonna keep it moving. So, and that doesn't cause me any. I don't have any ill feelings to them. They may have ill feelings to me, but I already understand that that's just the way they were raised, and I kind of bridged my understanding of what I believe of what I want to do in my life and my generation compared to them. But I know a lot of Tongans, like they're always complaining about all these things that comes from the Tongan culture. But I think the lack of understanding is causing them to become victims. And then the reason why I don't have food on my table because my dad and my family asked me for $5,000 for the wedding or for the funeral. I was like, no, you didn't have to give that 5,000. You could just go pay your bills, right? But if you understood why they asked you that for that obligation, you do have a choice. You still have a choice to make at the end. But I think sometimes Tongans, they make it seem like that they don't have a choice in the matter, which they do. But it's going to be a hard choice to make, and there's going to be some kind of consequences. But you have to bear that. That's just part of being an adult is making hard choices and bearing some responsibility that you're going to cause some issues within how people view your choices. But that's just being an adult. But yeah, but what's your response to bridging the gap? Do you guys see that with the people, the Tongans that you guys are around, my complaining about the things that we do as far as traditionally the culture, the libaangas, the fatongias, the mental health. My parents never believed in mental health and depression. What's the big
back then? Yeah.
But what do you see there's a conversation where people are willing to sit down and bridge that gap between the generations, or do you just see people complaining about the problems with their life and blaming the other
It's always
person?
one side or the other that doesn't want to sit down and have that conversation. Like if it's the kids that want to talk to the parents and the parents are like, oh my
Brush
gosh,
it off.
that's
Yeah.
low PC or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even know what depression is. Like, you're not depressed. Like, those conversations are hard. Or the other way around when like the parents are trying to teach the kids and the kids are like, that's stupid. Like, it's different these days. It's a lack of understanding and wanting to learn. Like with the whole depression thing, that was hard for me to bring up to my parents because it was like, new. They were like, what do you mean you're depressed? Yeah. But then, when things started to become real with, things that you go through with depression, then my parents, they realized that, oh shit, it is a real thing. Okay. Then they took the time to like learn about it. And
that's where communication.
Yeah. It took me a while.
You gotta sit down.
It took me a while to learn that like I couldn't be mad at my parents for not helping me with something that they don't even know about. You know what I mean? Like, how can I be mad at my parents for not helping me with something that they don't know how to help me on? So that was a learning experience on its own. But now that, you know, my parents have opened up and like have learned about it, this is why I'm so open with my parents now. Now when I have those days or weeks where I'm triggered, I can send my mom a text message like, hey, if I don't come out of my room, it's because I'm triggered. I'm just going through some stuff right now. And my mom's so understanding about it instead of like, why the fuck is she in her room? How come she doesn't want to come out? How come she don't want to do the dishes? Da, da, da. It's because we have that understanding. now.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you believe in depression?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Do you?
But you know, back
Hell
when
no.
we were, before they were born or when they were young, you don't really hear much about depression when we were, you know, when the kids were still younger.
Yeah.
So like right now, when you actually see your kids go through that and stuff like that, it is different. It is different. It's kind of like an eye opener, like, oh my gosh, just let her have her space and just kind of go with the flow. And when she makes that eye contact or come upstairs and wants to talk or something like that, you just kind of go in where you can, but don't want to overdo anything, you know.
Okay. Yeah, was there a point in time where you didn't believe in depression and then eventually you started believing it, but you always believed in depression ever since?
It wasn't so much depression like when we were younger, young married couple, even in young adult, we didn't really hear much about depression. Now that we have our own kids and it's a total different generation with everything, and then we actually see our children going through that, then we understand what it is.
Okay.
You know, we heard of it before. We didn't know the symptoms. We didn't know what they were going through. It would have probably been like, see, depressed, you know, you know. But when you actually get that experience with your own circle, you become to understand it and learn more about it. Because sometimes it's worse in someone else's family where suicidal attempts. And it gets serious like that, and they'll be like, oh shit, like, you know, kind of like a wake up call type of thing. Like, what can I do? You read about it more, you talk to someone else about it, you listen to them, and just keep the communication open where, you know, just try to be more with them than letting them feel alone when you're home.
Okay. Now, the reason why I said I don't believe in depression.
I was just about to get on your ass.
No, so the reason why I don't believe in depression, because it depends on your definition of what depression is. You know, depression, I think if you look at the definition, is like if you're going through a long period of time of feeling depressed or feeling some kind of negative feelings for a long period of time. So I think last time I checked online, that was the definition. So if you're feeling very bad negative feelings for long periods of time, then that's how they define depression. And the reason why I don't believe in depression, because I do believe whatever your beliefs are, it's going to determine your reality of your life. So I think the problem with a lot of the way people describe, and especially how they explain depression to a lot of people, because for me is hardship and struggle and suffering. That's normal in life. Nobody is perfect. No, we all make bad decisions. We're all gonna make mistakes. So there's that quote. Suffering is life, and life is suffering. It's what we do in our response to our suffering that makes a difference in our life and the quality of life. So everybody in this world since the beginning of time has gone through hardship and struggle. So for me, is the suffering that we're going to go through our lives is normal. Everybody has to go through it, but I think that's how we learn as human beings. Because when we fail, that's how we learn to adjust and to move forward. But I believe that a lot of people, they think that, oh, I'm sad, then something must be wrong with you. No, nothing's wrong with you. You're sad, because everybody has gone through sad days. What you need to do is figure out. I believe our emotions and what happens to you is life telling us the things that need to change in our life so that way we can move on and be better. So everybody, because if you don't know what sadness is, how are you gonna know what happiness is? Because when you fail, it's a negative feeling, right? So from that negative feeling, then that's going to incentivize you to figure out, okay, I did this. It was bad for me. That's how, not only as human beings, but as life teaches us, okay, these are the things I need to do because I don't like being sad. That's life, or that's my body telling me I need to do something because I don't like this state. I need to go out there and be happy. But I think every single time people have gone through, especially in America, you've been taught that any negative feeling you feel, you're depressed. And I think that's what's harming a lot of people. That just because you broke up from your partner, they broke up with you, doesn't mean you have to be depressed, because everybody has gone through heartbreak, right? It just means that you need to learn from that situation where, okay, your partner broke up with you. Okay, find a different partner, find somebody that's worth your time and move on. But I've seen people that, I just got a heartbreak and I feel depressed, and they lock themselves up in a room for 3, 4, 6 months. And I think that harms them because they really believe that suffering they felt is a depressive state where they feel like they're powerless to do anything. And I think we have to I think there's a difference between depression and just going through hardship in life. And I think now if you have some body issues where you need prescription if there's something wrong with your body where it's causing episodes or mood disorders, or you're affecting your personality because you have a lack of hormones or something, yeah, I agree, you may need some professional help and maybe depressed. But I think if you're just a normal human being with no problems and you're just going through a hardship in life, I don't think you're depressed. You're just going through hardship in life. Everybody's gone through it, but it's not what happens to you in life, it's how you respond to it. So everybody has. I've seen the people with the worst of circumstances. How many times you've read stories of people that so many terrible things happen to them? They could have just been like, you know what, my life is over because all these bad things happened to me, but they found a way to overcome it. But I think they just understood, look, it is what it is. Life is going to hit you in the face, and life is painful. Life is hard. It's suffering. Everybody that's been born before you has suffered. But suffering doesn't mean it's the end. And I think what happens is, if you think depression is real, when you go through suffering, you think it's the end because you feel powerless. You feel like, oh, you know what? I just feel powerless right now, and I just don't want to talk to nobody. I want to cut everybody off. I just want to lock myself in a room. And I think that's what depression is harming, because the suffering in our lives is teaching us to do something about it. And I think that's how we move up and that's how we grow. But I think when people believe in depression, if they get the first failure, the first disappointment, the first hardship, the first heartbreak, they just give up in life. It's over. I can't do nothing. I'm depressed right now. And that they have this mentality not to do anything about it. And I think when you don't do anything about your problems, it's only going to pile up. And I think it's kind of, your life gets worse if you don't do anything about it. And I think that's why depression for me is hard. That's why I don't believe it. So I'm not saying there's problems I think we have mental health, there's times where you have mental health problems where mentally we're just not thinking well, but I think that's just normal. Like things that happen to us, that's bad. I just think that's just normal of the phases that we go in life. So you're gonna get disappointed. You're gonna feel some agony. You're gonna feel some misery. You're going to feel somebody's gonna break up with you. And sometimes, unfortunately, the things that it's not in your control. Maybe your parents get divorced. Maybe something happens with you in your family. I'm just saying there's a lot of hardships in the world, and if that happened to you, unfortunately, I'm not that happened to you, but I'm just saying there's people that's happened to that in the past, and they found a way to overcome it. But I think if you believe in depression, I think it's kind of harmful, because that makes people believe that there's nothing they can do about the problem, which I don't agree to, because everybody on this table here is a grown adult, and we've gone through a lot of shit in our life, but we're here. Like, we made it through. We're still standing. So I think depression just causes kids to give up and never try to figure out the root of the problems and try to make some changes to keep moving forward and becoming better. And I think if you don't do anything about your problems in life, I think that's how people really find themselves in a very bad hole or very bad situation, or feel to a situation where their life is falling apart because they're just not doing anything about it. So yeah, that's why I don't believe in depression. So, because everybody I see that's gone through depression, usually they just don't think that they can overcome the problem. So I just think it's normal. Now, if I don't want to devalue the people that have gone through like extreme traumas, like extreme, terrible things, like if they've been trafficked, as a, they were trafficked as a kid. Look, I mean, that's tough. That's tough. But regardless of how tough the problem is, at some point in time in your life, you have to make a choice. Do you accept what happened to you, or do you take the responsibility to move on from it and find a better life? So one of the quotes I always live by is become bigger than your problems, become better than your problems. So that's my mentality. When something happens to me, regardless of who does it to me, whether it's fair or unfair, whether it's a family member, in my mind is like, I'm just gonna be better than my problem. I'm just gonna be bigger than my problem. So, but that's why I kind of push back on the depressing thing, because I know you say you like to lock yourself in a room. I mean, my rationale is locking yourself in a room. How does that change your situation? How does that make you fix your problem? And I just think that that's what happens when you're depressed. We're teaching people to be powerless, and I don't think that's the right way to teach human beings, because we've made it this far in our lives. Yeah. If you got this far, if you're still alive today, it shows you that there's some perseverance in you, that you didn't give up. Because if you gave up, you wouldn't be living today. You would have just passed away a long time ago. But the fact that you're still standing today shows me that there is some perseverance. But if you're doing that, if you're still persevering today and you're not really putting 100% confidence in yourself that you can overcome things, imagine if you can really believe in yourself. You know what? Regardless of what comes my way, I will overcome it. I will do it. But I don't think that we see all these kids. That's why we see kids today with everything: food, shelter, money, status. How many times we've seen kids with the best childhood and the best parenting, the best schools, best resources, but they still feel depressed. And then we have a kid from Tonga, coming to this country with nothing but the clothes in his bag, but this kid is happy as hell, and he's just going out there and working and busting his ass, and life just throws him a lot of problems, but they overcome it and they still build a successful family. So we see two different situations. That's what I'm saying, is depression is just a state of belief that if you think you're depressed, that when life happens, you just think it's a reason for you to give up. I think that's what depression teaches, is when the hardships is just life telling you to grow and be better. And I think that if you have that mentality, because sometimes I had a lot of guy friends I had to cut off because they were crying about their breakups. And I'm like, move on. Come on. I was like, move on. Everybody goes through a breakup. It's not the end of the world, Well, I mean, I know guys where they start drinking or they start, losing sleep. They don't feel the motivation to work anymore. I was like, Toko, everybody goes through hardship. There's not a reason to give up and stop going to work or stop, start having, abusing drugs and alcohol. But I think when you believe depression is a state of mind, because every bad thing happened to you is a depression, and I think that's where it gets dangerous, because everybody goes through it. There's no one in this world that grew up in this life that had no problem or no struggle. But I just don't. The only way to fix it is you got to do something about it. But yeah, that's my take.
I
on
see your
depression.
point on that.
Yeah.
I do see your point on that, but
Dude. But
there's a
good
lot of people
your
that go through that,
perspective.
though.
I mean, but here's my thing. What is do you believe? Let me ask you a question. Do you believe everybody goes through ups and downs? Right? There's going to be times where you're going to be doing good. There's going to be times you're going to be doing bad, right? So everybody makes mistakes. Everybody fails. You're going to make some bad decisions. And that's normal, right? Can we agree that's normal? So what's the difference between just everyday hardship, everyday mistakes, everyday failure, which is we all agree as human beings we're going to make, right? What's the difference between that, what I say is that's normal. If you're failing and you're making mistakes in life, that's normal human behavior. Everybody has made mistakes. Everybody's going to face some type of disappointment and failure. Now, it sucks to feel that way, but that teaches you, I don't like this feeling. How can I take this feeling away? That's when you learn and grow, stop making the same mistake and make better decisions, right? But what's the difference between just making everyday failures and everyday mistakes and depressed?
There's so many things that play into that.
Yeah,
Everybody's built different. Everybody's experience through life is different. Some people have a support system. Some people don't. Some people know how to channel, some people know how to channel their anger and get themselves out of that funk, and some people don't. Some people, have examples to follow of how to bring themselves out of that hole, and some people don't.
We're talking to
And some people need therapy, you know,
You're
to.
such a guy.
Guys,
No.
but it would be different. Like us women understand we have emotions.
Because we're more emotional beings. You're
Emotional.
so logical.
No, girls. I've seen women who don't believe in the powerful women. That they don't let life stop them from doing what they're supposed to do.
And that's great. That's great. There's some people that, yeah, there's some people that are still, you know, we're not there yet. We're still learning how to.
So if I broke up if my girlfriend broke up with me, and I just want to lock myself up in 6 months because I'm depressed, do you think that's normal?
Everybody's
Normal.
different.
Everybody's different. I mean,
Everybody's different.
like, are you gonna tell like a 16-year-old girl not to lock herself in the room, like after her first heartbreak? Like,
Yeah.
What?
But you're not letting her honor her feelings, and then she's gonna put it under a rug, and it's gonna grow, and she's not gonna be able to, like, she's gonna go back on that feeling years later. Like, that's what.
Do you think locking yourself in a room 6 months for 6 months and just ignoring everything in your life and just locking yourself in a room, do you think that helps that person more for their problem to be better, or do you think that they should, instead of locking themselves in the room, they should figure out a way to solve it?
I think, okay, hold on. Lose the whole locking in the room thing. Part of what you said when you said, oh, everybody's going to go through this. Okay, everybody's going to go, like, somebody's going to break your heart. I feel like if I came to, like, if I brought that to my dad, right? If I came to my dad and be like, oh my God, Dad, I'm so heartbroken, you know, whatever. If my dad was to tell me that, like, Nat, get your shit together, dude. Like, people are gonna break your heart. Or like, oh, I've been through that before. I feel like you're belittling my feelings in that moment, and you're kind of invalidating that shit and not letting me feel how I feel. Like, you're not letting me, like, kind of sit beside the moment right there.
No, I'm not saying that we invalidate what you feel. What I'm saying is feel what you feel, but that's not a reason for you to keep moving on.
That's true, but everybody deals with everything.
Yeah, but what's the definition of depression? So I'm not saying that there's gonna be days or multiple days. I'll give you guys some grace, maybe a week, right? I'm not saying that there's gonna be times where we just don't feel the problems that we face can be a lot, so we kind of just need some time to just take a step back. But the thing is, for me, is depression is for a day, a week. I'll give you some grace. But I just don't understand, like, a month, right? Or multiple weeks, a month.
Hold on. Okay, so then how are you gonna apply that to, like, somebody passing? Like, if somebody's dealing with the passing of somebody, like, that's something that happens off and on. Like, you can't give somebody like a day or a week or a month. Like, that's like an ongoing thing.
No, the reason why I do agree if somebody passed and you need some time to mourn, right? But the reason why I still believe that you have to move on, because that's called real life.
So the way I look at you, if he was to say it another way, if he was to say it another way, which is, there's nothing wrong with what you're saying, because that's how you feel, and I understand that. But if you were to rephrase it and say, people who feel depressed, they should be thinking about moving forward. Do you know what I mean? Instead of, like, I don't believe in depression, because they should everything you said, you're right. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. Everything you said, because they shouldn't just sit there. They need to move on, and they need to grow in order to get better and get themselves out.
Yeah. No, because that's why I said the definition of depression. I disagree with the definition of depression that I see. The definition of depression is long periods of time of feeling negative emotions, right? So long periods of time is like multiple weeks or a month, 2 months, years. For me, that's not normal for human society. If you think about it, we've been existing for thousands of years now, right? Everybody has gone through hardship. But that didn't mean they just stopped living life because life got hard. I'm not saying that we didn't have feelings. I'm not saying we didn't feel any bad emotions. I'm just saying that's normal. We feel it. You know, we feel what we go through, and then you move on. But traditionally, back in the day, it didn't take them 6 months to move on from a heartbreak, because at the end of the day, you still have responsibilities and things you need to do in your life. So just because you have a breakup doesn't mean you stop going to work, doesn't mean you stop listening to your parents or doing the things you need to do to survive in your
It's
life.
hard, but get yourself up to move.
Yeah, but I think we can afford it. We can into Western society we can afford to be depressed because we have such a comfortable life where you can afford going to your bedroom for 6 months, ignoring all your responsibility as an adult, because you can afford that, because you can just go home with your parents. Hey parents, I'm gonna go 6 months and live in a house, and don't bother me. We can afford that because modern society provides that comfortability. But in the real world, where most people are starving and trying to feed themselves and put food in their table and get water, there's no time for depression. Like, they still feel it, but they have to move on with life. So that's what I'm saying is, I just disagree. I disagree with the feeling that they takes you a long period of time, but I think it's just a matter of belief. If you feel like every bad thing means that you need to take a long period of time to feel powerless, I think not doing anything about your problem is going to harm you a lot more than feel what you feel. Take a day, take a couple of days, maybe take a week, but it doesn't take you 6 months to a year to just lock yourself up in a room and avoiding any kind of social interaction with people. And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think it's healthy for you, for anybody. But I don't think that's normal behavior for society, because people have gone through a lot of hardship in the world since the beginning of time: wars, famine, lack of resources. But we had the human will to survive, and that human will is like, I'm gonna keep moving forward. But when you tell people that they could be depressed, I think that's dangerous, and that's how people find themselves in suicide situations. Because I just think that people will find themselves to the point where they're suicidal. It's just they just never did anything about their life. It just got so bad where they feel powerless. Where they feel like the only way out is taking their life, even though there's a lot of things they could have done to change it. But we don't encourage people. Hey, I know. Look, you're going through hardship. Feel what you have to go through. Take some time, but that doesn't mean you just stop your whole life and let the problems pile up. And I think that's my definition. That's why I disagree with that definition of depression is long periods of time of depression. And the reason why I know you said this is such a man view. You know why I have that man view? Because if I'm providing for my family and for my kids, there's no time for me to feel depressed if I got to take care of my children. I don't care how depressed I feel. My kids need to be taken care of, and my wife needs to be taken care of. That's just part of life responsibility. And men knew that. Like, men, there's a lot of times I never saw my dad take a break. I saw my dad come to work. He was tired. I remember there was times where he was injured, but he got up every single morning and went to work. And I had we had a roof over my head. I never had to worry about food. But my dad made that sacrifice because, and I know I guarantee you there was probably times where it was overwhelming for my dad to provide. And I promise there's probably a time where he just went in the room and just cried by himself alone. But he made that sacrifice for me and my siblings to be taken care of. But that's why I believe depression. Be careful for that for men, because how many times I've seen guys just ignore the responsibility for their kids and the family because they just don't feel good. You know what? I know I should take care of my family, my kids, but if I don't feel like it, I know I need to take some time off, and then the people he's responsible for, they get affected. So that's why I'm kind of hardcore on the men, a little bit more grace for you as a woman. But for everybody, I think that's just normal part of life. Like, shit happens to you. So I'm not trying to disrespect how people feel, because I feel bad emotions as well. But I just realized for myself is if bad things happen to me, I'm gonna be honest. There's some days where I just take a day, like 24 hours. For me, 24 hours. I just need to take a break and get it away from everybody. But after 24 hours, I have to keep going, because I know, my bills are still gonna come the next week, so that's not gonna stop. But I don't know, and I just think that if we want people to be resilient, can we all agree resilience is a good quality to have as men and women? If we want people to be resilient, I think we need to teach them to be resilient. Is life happens, respond, get the support that you need, get the help that you need, but respond and do something about it. But I think depression is teaching people to be less resilient. And if you don't have some kind of degree of resiliency, man, life is gonna kick you in the ass. Like, when shit gets tough, that's that's why I mean, I think the people, you see people that keep overcoming things. I think they just built like a callus in their hand, and like no matter what happens to me, I'll overcome it because they've kind of practiced that. But I think the people, that's why I feel for the younger generation, because when I hear for the younger generation, they talk about depression, I'm just like, oh shit, wait till you become an adult. Wait till you start getting some life responsibility. Wait till you get some life bills. Wait till you have a family. You think being depressed right now and you're single and your parents paying your bills? Imagine being depressed and you have a family and you got kids, or you're out there in the real world and you have to survive, and nobody's going to come save you. So I'd rather have you form a resilient type of mindset, and that's why I'm very focused on that, because I just understand how hard life is. And I know a lot of people have a good life, but shit, there's a lot of people out there struggling every single day just to put a roof over, take care of themselves, and they can't afford like to be depressed. So I know. I know, I'm just saying that yeah. I'm like I said, I don't want to invalidate anybody's feelings, but I just think long term wise, I just don't think it's beneficial for you long term. I think when problems arise, it's better to solve it when things happen now. But I think if you kind of delay your problems, I just think it compounds. It gets worse over time. Like that problem you have is not going away. You might as well learn to address it right now than wait 6 months to a year, because once you get out of your depression state, that problem is still going to exist. So how are you going to be able to solve that if you don't do it now? So I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Sorry
Yeah.
if you
Good
thought I
point,
was
though.
laughing. I wasn't.
No,
I just
no,
thought
no.
that we when you ask about depression, you see it differently, like
Yeah.
than like our depression that we're aware of. Sorry, I'm just coming from like us women.
Yeah.
No, but I understand where you were coming from
Yeah.
now after you spoke.
Yeah.
But we're coming from a different,
And
different level.
and I've heard this from a different podcast, but Western society, we can afford to be depressed. In Western society, we can afford it. I'm so glad, and I'm gonna say this, I'm so glad my parents didn't believe in depression, because I always think about this. My parents came to a foreign country, no money, just came by themselves. They didn't know any languages. They didn't know the language, but they had to come here to a new country and just restart their whole life and try to make it. You know how hard that is? And a lot of young kids don't understand it. I was thinking about that myself the other day. I was like, man, my parents came here, didn't speak the language, didn't know anybody here, just but the family members, and they just had to figure out how to get a job and make a living. That's extremely, extremely difficult and stressful. So I'm kind of glad that my parents didn't believe in depression, because if they would have believed in depression, facing all the challenges they had to come to this country, they probably would have given up, and they probably would have separated from their relationship, and I might not have been born. But in my mentality, my parents is there's no such thing as depression. Hardship is just normal. We're gonna overcome it, and I think that's for a lot of kids. I think they don't understand that mentality unless they go into real life. And once then life hits them hard in the face, and then that's when you finally realize, oh shit, like how are you gonna respond? Nobody really, what's that Mike Tyson quote? Nobody really knows. Everybody wants to fight until they get punched in the face. So I mean, if you want to believe in depression, and like I said, we can afford it, because society, your parents can take care of you when you don't want to go to work. But then when you're in a situation when you have nobody to rely on, like there's nobody there, your parents are not there to pay your bills, your sister, your brother, your uncle, your friend is not to pay your bills, and life is just not working out for you. That's what happens. And then the true nature of who you are gets revealed. So are you gonna break apart and let you destroy your own life, or are you gonna respond to it and overcome it? And I think that's what I see in my friends. Sometimes my friends call me with their problems. I already told them, do you want somebody to vent to, or do you want a solution? And they tell me, because if you call me to vent, then I'm gonna hang up right now. Because venting, like for me, is venting to me. How is that gonna solve your issue? Especially my friends that call me, like they have kids. I was like, Toko, why are you calling me? about your problems, man. Fix it. You got kids, you got bills to pay. Man, it's like you can. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but if you don't take care of your kids, how are you gonna look yourself in the mirror, call yourself a man? But I've had guys that are just like, look, if you're calling me for a pity party or to give you some kind of emotional support, when I know you have responsibilities because I know you have kids, I'm not the one for you. Maybe go somebody else, but I just don't see how me just hey, it's okay because I know that these bills, these rent is gonna change. He's still gonna be looking. He still has to pay that in that month. So, but we've come to the end. E-Rock, Lord Punisher, Underground Roads. Thank you so much. I'm just gonna pass it back to you guys. We can close up the podcast for tonight. I just want to give a shout out to you guys real quick. All right, we had a great conversation. Appreciate you guys making the time, and thank you for talking on some things about the tongue and the tongue culture. Quick question I want to ask you guys real quick about depression. If you guys have two men, one doesn't believe in depression. He just believes when shit happens, he's just tough. He just overcomes it. Another one believes in depression. When he goes through problems, he's going to take some time off and look for you for emotional support. Which man would you rather start a family with?
After listening to your explanation, that question's
After listening to it changes.
Which man would you start a family with? The man that doesn't believe in depression, he just understands when life hits you, you're just going to be harder and stronger. I'm going to overcome it.
Well, you're gonna need a man that's mentally strong.
Yeah. Or the other guy, he believes in depression. So when he goes through his problems, he believes that he needs to take some time off, and whatever he has to do to take time off, because he believes in depression, and he looks for emotional support. Which man do you prefer, long term, to be?
Damn, can I get a man that's mixed with both?
You want that? You can't have both.
Well,
it's like saying
I already have mine, so mine's good.
I know. I'm just saying you would take the guy that doesn't believe in depression, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just asking. Okay.
Oh, yeah. After your talk,
Yeah.
opened up a different view on how you men think.
Yeah. When I say the guys that don't believe in depression, doesn't mean that we're not conscious about other people's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when people come to me, especially if they're problems, I mean, I do have a heart. I'll listen. Ew. No, I'm more graceful for the women because I understand as for women, the reason why I'm more graceful for you and I'm more hard on the men, because for women, there's always going to be a man out there that will take care of you. So that's the benefit of being a woman is there is a guy out there that will take care of you and will help you. For men, we don't have that luxury. If you're a weak man, if you can't stand up on your own 2 feet, no woman would want to be with you. You guys have already proved that already, and no man is going to respect you. Nobody's going to tolerate a weak man. So that's why for me, I'm more harder for the guys because there's no saving woman that's going to come in. Hey, when's the last time I saw a woman come up to a man? Hey, I'm going to come and save you and pay all your bills.
Me.
Well, you're rare. You're one out of like many. Most women are willing to do that. Now, there's a lot of guys who are willing to do that. Guys who will be okay, if you're in distress and they need some help, because it's our nature to provide and protect. It's normal for guys to do that. So that's why I'm more graceful for you, but the harder the guys, because if you're incompetent, incapable, and weak as a man, society is not going to respect you. Women's not going to respect you, and that man's going to live a very hard life unless he starts manning up and taking charge. So that's why I'm more grateful for you. But I think for the way we deal with the depression for the men is instead of talking about our feelings, we surround ourselves with good guys that we can encourage each other. Hey, man, I know you're going through a lot right now, but this is your time to shine. This is your time to prove to yourself that you can do it. And I know you can do it. Just get up and go do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more that instead of you guys, hey girl, whatever you guys talk about. I don't know the things you guys talk about, but But I'll pass it to you guys. Thank you so much for making the time to be on the podcast. What's your final thoughts on tonight's conversation, and how can they find you? So I'll start with you, Natalie.
Stop starting with me.
Thank you for making out. Probably got to meet you for the first time, and being part of the panel, being part of the pod. What's your final thoughts, and how can they find you?
Final thoughts on the main subject?
Oh, just overall the whole conversation.
Everything. Make him earn it, ladies. Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with that. Yep, name's Natalie. Everybody calls me Honey Dreads. You can find me on all social media platforms. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, everything's under Honey Dreads with a Z. Shout out to Blue Lake Entertainment. That's my entertainment team in Utah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Natalie. Seta, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address a lot of the things. But like I said, I don't blame you, because like I take accountability. I said a lot of things that triggered a lot of people, and I did it intentionally. So I got to take accountability for that. But I do appreciate you coming, even though you didn't want to come, but at least have a conversation with me.
Thank you so much.
No, but I do appreciate that, willing to come in and just have some grace. So, I may disagree. I hate this guy, but I wanted to sit down and at least have a conversation with him, and I think that's honorable to sit down with somebody, even though you may not disagree with them, but just at least have a conversation with them. So I do appreciate it. I respect that.
I don't hate you.
I just dislike you a lot.
My name is Seta Mai. My Instagram is Polynesian Swirls with the UC. I really enjoyed this podcast. Thank you, Natalie, for inviting me. No.
You're so welcome.
For forcing me. No, but Will, you have such a sweetheart, and thank you for just opening up your perspective and just sharing your thoughts, so that me as a woman can see it from your point of view. I just really enjoyed the talk.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to clip that as I got endorsed. See y'all. I'm good. Thank you so much for making the time. But I'll pass it to you. And I was ready for some controversial takes from you, but I didn't really hear any tonight. But thank you for coming. Final thoughts, and how can they find you?
Well, I enjoy these conversations, especially within our Tongan culture.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a lot of people are not comfortable with a lot of topics like this. I do have a podcast of my own. It's called The 4 Real Ladies, number 4 Real Ladies. And we talk a lot about this. The main thing is relationships. Tonight's podcast with you, I just thank you for letting us be a part of your program. It just shows a different perspective on everything for us, on everything that we talked about. We all look at things different. Too bad it's time. I wish we could just started this morning at 8 so we can stand the whole day
Way away.
and because it's nice. It's interesting to me.
Bigger ball.
And then to also be a part of this with other people commenting and everything. I wish we could have had enough time to go through each comment, because I respect everybody coming in with their different opinions and their thoughts of everything that we spoke about. But again, Will, thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here and to meet you in person. And I, with a podcast, it's just similar what we talk about, and we just speak our mind. I don't care what anybody thinks. It's something for us to learn. Feako Aki with the different subjects that we had.
Yeah.
Tonight was fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do you do is it just you and your 4 ladies, or do you invite people to come on with you?
Oh, we do have people come on, but because we're so bold about a lot of stuff, with our subjects, a lot of people they wouldn't want to be a part, just because they don't want their family to think this, or, oh, what are you going to go over there and Ngari Vale? They think because we share a lot of our personal things that we went through if we feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And the only reason why we share, if we do share something about our personal life, it's only because we let people know that we're human. We're going through this too, and it's okay to not be okay sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and we just want other people to learn what we did, how we how we solved it, how we took it. And then some people say, oh, well, so you can look at it this way. And they were like, oh, wow, I never thought of that. So we're learning from them too, you know, on the different subjects that we talk about. And a lot of people think that, oh, well, what do you guys cuss so much? Or it's just our natural way of talking when we have our podcast. And, you know, sometimes our podcast is not for everybody.
Yeah.
So don't watch it.
No worries.
You know, but I enjoyed today.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for making the time. You know, I've heard a lot of Tongans that that would come that would send me a message. They would say, "Hey, Toko, I agree with you. I agree with you privately, but I can't agree with you publicly." I'm like, you weak ass. I was like, oh, yo, what? But anyways, thank you so much. I know I don't do a lot of Tongan podcasts. I'm trying to rebuild my reputation with my Tongan community. So, but I do enjoy having Tongan panels and talk about the things that we go through as Tongans, because I just believe that this is the age of social media. This is the age of the internet. So I think a lot of the problems, the solutions a lot of people are going to look for, especially the younger kids, they're going to look for on the internet. So at least we can talk about these things so they have a place to go to. Because the only people that are going to care about Tongans is who? Tongans. So if you can try to get advice about Tongans from other races, but they can speak on some things that we similarly go through, but it's different because even though we may have similar problems with other cultures, but there's a different way of how we do things at Tongan that only Tongans can understand and grew up Tongan. So that's why I enjoy these panels, because we can all relate to a lot of the things that we talked about today, because we're all Tongan and we grew up in. And I think for these kids who are Tongan and growing up in America, which a lot of us all did, the only place that they can get solutions for the things that they go through, that they experience, is they got to hear it from other Tongans who talk about it. So that's why I like these panels. And regardless of what the topic is, I just see that I would wish that, man, I would love to have grown up in, and we didn't have internet. Well, we did have internet. That was the, the modem. We had a modem, and it took like a long while. But I would have, I mean, you know how powerful, how cool it would be if I was a young kid and I was going through a problem in my life as a Tongan kid, and I just saw other Tongans who went through the same problem talk about it, and they also offered solutions. I'm like, damn, like, cool. I guess like, that'll be impactful. So I know when we are talking, there's gonna be Tongans watching this, and then they can understand and relate, because we're talking about the things that we only as a people can go through and understand. And I think that's important in today's culture, where there's so much content out there that can mislead and disencourage our young Tongans. That's why I appreciate Tongans coming together, having open conversation about these things, because we're the only one that care more about us than anybody else. So we're gonna speak from the heart, and we're gonna speak, try to generally find some solutions. So I wish more of us did it, but then that's why I appreciate you, respectful for you for doing what you're doing. But imagine if Tongans can come together and no matter how opposing the views or how much we disagree, and actually solve a lot of our problems, man, when that day happens, man, I think that'll be a great day. But until then, we're just gonna we're just gonna go too low about all the shit. We're just gonna speak in private and just lobby everybody and then blame everybody, but nobody wants to sit in public and have the courage to say what they believe in and figure out shit. So that's why I respect you guys. So thank you so much. We do this every single Saturday. So if you're talking right now, you're watching, you want to be part of the panel, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always open to do a panel with the podcast. But next week we'll have some ladies and we'll have a topic to discuss. But I do appreciate you guys for watching the entire show. Thank you so much, everybody, the entire stream. A lot of you guys watched the entire show. Thank you so much, and thank you, Jerk, for the super chats. But see you guys next time. new topic, new panel. And so all the Tongans out there, Ofatu.
Shout out
Ofatu.
to Irene Rhodes. She's one of my viewers.
Oh,
At
yeah.
the Four Wheel Lady. She's on here. I saw her.
Oh, yeah. Irene. I love Irene. She's a
Yeah.
big supporter of mine.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah. Ofatu, Irene, and Pula Binaka to all.
My Fijian.
All the Fijians out there, Pula Binaka. All right. Peace.